presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are San Diego.
Unbelievable for this club.
It's a powerful swing. Right on the sweet spot. Can't touch that one.
Welcome back to the desert where spring training rolls along. The Cactus League schedule continues for the Padres. And welcome to the Peoria Sports Complex, where today the two teams that share it go head-to-head, the Seattle Mariners and the San Diego Padres. Welcome inside the Sports Complex, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo along with Mark Grant. Welcome to Padres baseball. The beginning of spring, we talked a lot about the job availabilities here for the Padres, and a lot open. Today, we find out the middle has been taken care of.
Hopefully, Padre fans, everybody alike, sees a little magic up the middle. So we're going to focus on the erstwhile Angel, Eric Ibar at shortstop, and Yangervis Solarte at second base. So what's going to be so key for these guys? Positioning. Do they have the range to play short and second base? Well, that remains to be seen if the pitchers can hit their spots. Eric Ibar, 33 years old, Gold Glove winner back in 2011. Yeah, he can still get to some balls and shows off the arm in the hole. Solarte, the one thing about Yangervis that sticks out, versatility, and at second base, they really like the pivot. Now, playing third base, going over to second, it's a whole different monster. But they really like the way he pivots around the bag on the double play, and that's very key for any second baseman.
Should be fun to watch. They're both in the starting lineup today for the Padres. Also fun to watch today, the spring debut in a Cactus League game for Carter Capps. We'll talk about Carter Capps when we come back right after this. Sports San Diego presents Padres Baseball, brought to you by Petco, your complete pet store with all the nutrition, supplies, and services you need to support the health and well-being of your pet. And by Sequan Casino. Play, win together in the heart of San Diego. Welcome back to Arizona as we get ready for this Mariners-Padres battle. We send it down to field level with Bob Scanlon. Bob.
Thanks, Don. Hey, it's unusual for a team to be excited about a player making their Cactus League debut this late in spring training, but that's certainly the case for the Padres and Carter Capps. Now, remember, the 26-year-old right-hander came over last year from the Marlins in the Andrew Cashner deal, and when he arrived, he was right in the middle of recovering from Tommy John surgery that he had last March 8th, but the Padres certainly thought that he was worth the risk. Brings over a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, but along with that, the controversial delivery. And, of course, that unorthodox push off the rubber. Now, last year, Major League Baseball said, hey, we've reviewed it, everything looks fine. But then this video came out in spring training, throwing his first bullpen. Everybody got all upset. As you see here, there is a double step. But the Padres said, don't worry, relax. This is just his first bullpen. What you're going to see is more like this when he was throwing with the Florida Marlins. No push-off, just a long stride. Now, is it controversial? It could be, but Major League Baseball actually has a new rule this year, which we'll talk about more as this broadcast goes on. The key thing for the Padres at this point, they want to see Carter Capps bring that 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Can he be ready for opening day? The thought is, yes, he still can, because he's been throwing on the backfield 3 or 4 times. So they're excited about having him. And let's be honest, if Andy Green has this guy to be able to go to out of the bullpen, what an incredible weapon. Padres and Seattle Mariners, first pitch coming up next, right here on Fox Sports San Diego.
Welcome back to the Peoria Sports Complex as we get ready for day baseball and spring training inside the last week of spring training for the San Diego Padres as they get ready to host the Seattle Mariners today. They kind of switch off in that regard. Of course, this is the home ballpark during the spring for both of these two teams, and this time today the Padres are the home team.
Two teams that travel very well in spring training. A lot of people from the Pacific Northwest love to come down to Arizona and support their M's. And of course, just to the west of us is the great city of San Diego. People making the trip out here during spring break. So it looks like it's going to be a healthy crowd. The berm is filled. People are bronzing, and we are ready for baseball.
Let's check out the visiting Seattle Mariners starting 9 today. Scott Service's squad having a pretty good spring training, and why not? They've got a pretty good lineup, and of course, well, this is sort of a home game for them. Largely the guys that will be in the opening day lineup for them. Leonis Martin will be in center field with Gene Segura at shortstop. Kyle Seager is at third base. Danny Valencia's won the first base job. Of course, he's in there today. We'll not see Cano and Cruz out of the gate today, but Mike ZUNINO, who's had a .355 spring training, He's in the lineup, and he's the DH with Ben Gamble in right field. Guillermo Heredia will be in left field. Tuffy Gosewich will be doing the catching, batting 8th, and Mike Freeman at second base bats 9th for the M's. Defensively today for the Padres, left to right across the outfield, it is Travis Jankowski, Manuel Margot, and Jabari Blash in right field. Third to first, Ryan Schimpf back in action just a couple of days now during spring training after he was banged up. Eric Ibar at short, Yanhervis Solarte at second base, Will Myers at first, and Luis Torrens does the catching today for Matt McGill getting the start, the right-hander on the hill.
9-year minor leaguer, and you know what? You got to root for guys like Matt McGill. Getting a chance to start a big league game in Peoria, show his stuff to Darren Balsey and the coaching staff. Now 38 games last year in the minors, and this 27-year-old is trying to hang on. Pretty basic pitcher. 4-pitch pitcher, fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, about 90-91. Getting a good opportunity here this afternoon in the desert.
Yeah, 5 total games a year ago for him in Cincinnati and in the big leagues, and today getting the start with Jared Weaver starting in a B game today and getting some work on the backfields. And here we go, Matt McGill with the first pitch of the afternoon, and it's in there for strike 1. Leonys Martin, of course, the former Texas Ranger, leading it off today for the Mariners. Well, a beautiful complex here in Peoria. And both love their home here, the Seattle Mariners and the San Diego Padres. And beautiful day here again, and still warm, not as warm as it was about a week ago. We were in the mid-90s here about a week ago, and now high 80s.
Some cloud cover, as we can see, out to the north and to the east of us, so it's kind of taking the sting out of the sunshine just a little bit, and the breeze helps out as well.
And there is a pretty good gust going out as this day starts. A check swing, did he go? And Tom Woodring, third base umpire, says he did not.
Well, when are the Mariners going to break the seal and make the playoffs, huh? 15 years without making. It's the Major League's longest drought for a team not making the playoffs. So Scott Service, Jerry Dipoto trying to put together a team to go into the postseason.
Well, there's ball 4 and a leadoff walk for Matt McGill. So Martin down to first, and it brings up Gene Segura. We watched Segura last year really thrive. He was really one of the few bright spots last year for the Arizona Diamondbacks.
You see him in the division. You see him much more often than when he was a Milwaukee Brewer. I really like this kid. He's a young, energetic player. Can make things happen. Good range at shortstop.
Led the league with 203 hits a year ago.
That's a good year in the big leagues.
319 average in his only year, as it turned out, with the Diamondbacks. Let's face it, they had huge expectations going into last year, and just didn't work out. And included the firing of their manager at the end of the year, and now a new manager there for the Arizona Diamondbacks and Torey Lovello. Look out, and the breaking ball just kind of slipped out of his hand.
Sometimes it's dry for the pitchers. That grip on the baseball gets a little slick.
Fouled back to the screen, and it's a ball and 2 strikes to Segura with Kyle Seager waiting on deck.
What, does time fly or what? Because Segura, it seems like, it seems like he's been in the league like, 2 or 3 years. But I mean, this kid's going to be 27. Well, he is 27. But, Milwaukee, those handful of years, but time just flies.
I broke into the big leagues with the Angels initially, then the 4 years with Milwaukee. And high throw over to first base, kind of batted down by Myers, but back to the bag is Martin. Now Segura, the one season in Arizona, ended up hitting .319 last year, and he goes lunging after that pitch and strikes out. So Matt McGill, after the walk, comes back with a K of Segura. Not easy to do. That's amazing, Bud. And I've heard from yourself and a lot of people how little used to be around this complex, and now it has built up amazingly over the last couple of years.
I remember the first year coming to Peoria, and just to the right of the stadium, you see a hotel with kind of yellowish and the red top. That was the only building here.
That's amazing.
There was absolutely nothing else. Tumbleweeds, scorpions, snakes, cacti. And it's just amazing to see how much Peoria has grown.
And Kyle Seager standing in with 1 out and 1 on. I mean, that's happened in a relatively short period of time, right?
And now there's Goodyear and Surprise. It was Surprise was before Goodyear, but, you know, as the valley moves west, I mean, it's just swelling all over the Phoenix area, north, south, east, west. It's just tons of people moving out here and growing year by year.
Every chain in America, I think, is down this stretch as this one gets away from Terrens, and Martin will jog to second base and round it. On the wild pitch, uncorked by McGill.
You can hit every early bird special at every restaurant here for a year, and you still won't hit them all.
No. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. And it's great for the fans who come here because you can stay right by the complex here in Peoria and literally walk to everything. I mean, it is all right here. And so many fans have taken advantage of it from San Diego and, of course, the Pacific Northwest. And they converge on Peoria Sports Complex today as a pickup play at second base.
Nice.
And relatively close, but back to the bag is Martin.
I like that. That was the daylight play. Eric Ibar, shortstop, was inching towards second base behind the runner, and then you flash the leather, and as the pitcher sees that flash of the leather, the daylight in between the runner and the bag, spin and throw. The throw is a little high. There's the daylight play on the high side of the bag. And if that's a pinpoint throw, it's a closer play at second base.
Seager to the left, and Jankowski battling the sun kind of deked him and will throw to third base. And as the deke worked, it had Martin going back to second. So instead of advancing to third base, he remains at second because of that deke. But a base hit kind of dunked into left field by Kyle Seager.
I don't know if Travis was fooled by the swing, as you mentioned, lost track of it. Let's take a look. There, the ball is struck, and then he kind of held his ground a little bit, and then the deke. Oh, put that guy on the nomination list for Best Actor in left field. Now keeping the force at any base for Matt McGill.
Totally fooled Martin, who was watching the outfielder and trying to figure out what he was going to do. He was playing it about halfway between second and third, and then ducked back to the bag. Here is Danny Valencia, the well-traveled Valencia. As a home run this spring, and the average at 214. 12 for 56 during the spring for Valencia.
Don, you know what I love about this situation here? Matt McGill, not going to be on the club. He's a minor league guy, right? But he is pitching against a team right now that's pretty much, they're going to have a lot of regulars in the lineup for the Mariners. It gives him a sense of, you know what, this is what pitching at the big league level is going to be like. See if I can get out of this jam with 1 out against bona fide big league hitters.
And Valencia broke into the big leagues with the Minnesota Twins in 2010. Time in Baltimore, Kansas City, Toronto, and Oakland. Last year and a half with the Athletics. Last year, 130 games with Oakland. And now he stays in the division, the American League West, but moves to the Seattle Mariners this year and has won the first base spot for the M's. In the air to shallow right, and ducking back is Myers with the glasses on, and infield fly rule in effect as Myers makes the catch a couple strides in short right field for out number 2.
Love the infield fly rule. Batter is automatically out. Runners can advance at their own risk.
So 2 down and 2 on as Mike Zunino will step in. Mentioned off the top when we were looking at the lineups the spring he has put together. 355 with 3 homers and 7 runs batted in. Breakdown 11 for 31 for Zunino so far during the spring.
Career 195 hitter for Mike Zunino. Obviously, it's not the lumber that's going to keep him in the big leagues.
It was a first-round pick by the Mariners, 3rd overall in 2012. In the dirt, and Terrens to his right gets that.
Well, he likes to chase. You know, he strikes out quite a bit, 34% of the time. I mean, that's a lot of strikeouts. So you get ahead in the zone, then you go up in the zone, and he will chase for the punchy. He had 12 home runs last year in 55 games for the M's.
Did have 65 strikeouts along the way, and as you mentioned, he will strike out. We're staying away. Too far away that time. Did equal his career high in walks, though, a year ago. Walked 21 times in 55 total games.
Some guys just don't like the walk, right? They like to swing that shillelagh.
Don't have the patience.
No.
First and second with 2 down and away again as McGill down 3-1. I like the Mariners spring gear.
I do too. Is that turquoise?
I think so.
Teal.
Teal.
I think it's a good color scheme for the M's.
That's a strike. Just gets that corner.
That's paint by McGill. He's got a firm fastball. Don't have a radar gun out there, but I'm guessing it's around 92-ish. Maybe 93.
Trying to work his way around a walk and a single in the inning. Martin at second. Seager at first with 2 away here in the top of the first. And he gets ZUNINO. Strikes him out. Back to the gas. It was up high. 2 strikeouts in the inning. The Mariners get nothing. Up come the Padres when we come back.
The countdown to opening day is
Is coming up here after the Mariners did not score in the top of the first inning. And let's check out the starting 9 today for the Padres. Manuel Margot leading it off and in center field with Travis Jankowski in left. Will Myers at first base. Yanhervis Solarte is at second base. Ryan Schimpf at third with Jabari Blash, who has 6 home runs during the spring and 38 games last year in the big leagues. And he's in right field. Christian Bethancourt, 1 for 8 so far during the spring. He's the DH, and Luis Torrens doing the catching with Eric Ibar back at shortstop. The starting 9 today, and here is Manuel Margot leading it off for the Padres in the bottom of the first inning. Yvonny Gallardo will miss with ball 1. The veteran right-hander on the mound today for the M's.
Yeah, a little long in the tooth for Gallardo. Veteran guy for Scott Service. And, you know, he's had one heck of a career. And I'll tell you why. You win over 100 games in the big leagues. I don't care what anybody. You're not a Hall of Famer, but you win 100 games in the big leagues. That is saying something. 105 victories for this kid, Yvonny Gallardo, 31-year-old right-hander.
23 starts a year ago with the Baltimore Orioles, individually under 500 at 6-8 on the season. There's a pop-up off first. And under it to make the catch is Valencia on the warning track just beyond the Padres dugout. Let's check out the Mariners defensively today. Guillermo Heredia in left. Leonys Martin in center with Ben Gamble around in right. It's Kyle Seager at third base with Gene Segura at short. Mike Freeman at second. Danny Valencia just made that catch at first, and TUFFY GOSEWISCH does the catching today for Gallardo.
One thing general manager Jerry DiPoto did when he became general manager of these M's, he wanted to tighten up the defense, and last year in 16 was a much better defensive team for the Mariners. Rather than trying to just go with power guys, you know, hit the ball out of the ballpark, wait for the 3-run shot, a la Earl Weaver.
When you think about the middle of their lineup in Robinson, Cano, and, of course, Nelson Cruz, you got the power.
Right.
You're going to score runs. The question is about the defense and the pitching.
So do you hope you score 7 runs, but your pitching and defense give up 6 or 7 or 8, right?
You'd like to be better than that.
Yeah.
And shore things up in what's going to be, I think, a pretty tough division. There's the Astros.
I like the Astros.
Improved.
I like the Astros.
Jankowski with a healthy hack, now down 1-2. Jankowski played 131 games last year for the Padres. So a lot of action.
You know, I look at Travis, I think of 2 words. Comfortable, but hungry. Actually, that's 3, because I said but. Comfortable,
Yes, that's 3.
hungry. Comfortable because of his time in the big leagues last year. Hungry because he still has that drive to want to produce at this level and stay at this level and be an integral part of the lineup. He wants to improve against lefties. You know, if you're going to be an everyday guy, you're going to have to face those tough lefties.
And I feel like he has during the spring.
Yes.
He's fared pretty well against left-handed pitching and definitely worked hard at it.
We know about his defense. We know about his speed. We know he can cover some ground.
That's ball four. We'll see more of this, too, as he takes the walk down to first base with 1 out in the inning. Another career for Giovanni Gallardo in his 11th Major League season. 108.83 during the course of his career and 267 total starts.
And an ERA career under 4, I'll take that.
The art of the complete game is truly gone. 4, though, over the course of his
What's a
career.
complete game?
It doesn't exist anymore, really. Padres had 1, right, last year. Luis Perdomo.
Yes.
In Miami. Myers will drive this to deep and far right field, and that ball is going to be gone onto the berm. Home run from Myers. At 28 last year during the regular season. It's a 2-run shot here in the first and puts San Diego on top 2-0. A great spring has Will Myers and keeps it going here in the last week of spring training.
Who says you have to pull the ball to hit the ball out of the ballpark? We know that number 4, Will Myers, is some kind of strong to all fields, foul pole to foul pole. But look at this fastball. Gallardo not overpowering, just below the belt buckle, and straightening that ball up. Some serious energy in that swing and driving it to right center field.
3rd home run of the spring for Myers, and Solarte takes a hack at the first pitch.
Rock on with your natural-born self there, Will Myers. It's a good swing.
And the walk comes back to haunt Gallardo, too, as that walk instantly becomes a run. Solarte finds him shoved down 0-2. When spring training started, I think we all assumed Solarte was going to be the everyday third baseman for the Padres, and that's not how it's worked out. When he came back from the WBC, he's been slotted into the second base spot.
Talked about him during our open. The versatility of Solarte is the first thing that comes to mind. And I think from third base to second base is a huge difference. But with a guy like Solarte, who is, first of all, coachable and athletic enough to make that change, hey, is he going to win a Gold Glove? Probably highly unlikely. But the one thing that sticks out is the pivot at second base, which is very, very key for any second baseman.
Well, Solarte thinking, too, will throw the brakes on very late and get back to the bag at first. He was thinking 2 out of the gate, but pulled it up around first base and hopefully didn't hurt himself.
Now, that's an aggressive turn. He was more than a third of the way, almost half. Almost halfway to second base on that turn. And that's the way any hitter should take it out of the box, especially left-handed. When you hit one down the left field line, you see that left fielder moving towards the line, be aggressive. Fastball up and away. Short, choppy steps. Ooh, look out.
Well, able to get back to the bag as he settles in over there at first base with 1 out. And Ryan SCHIMPF coming up here. Of course, really the surprise of last year for the Padres. 20 home runs during the regular season. And
it was remarkable, wasn't it?
Nobody was expecting that at all. It was fun.
So fun to watch.
This year so far in just 8 spring training games. Does have a home run. 89 games for him last year in the big leagues. First experience for him, and 20 home runs for SCHIMPF, and more extra base hits than he had singles. I mean, he is a guy who's got good amount of power and thinks about power all the time. And battling with Spangenberg at third base. Look at the numbers overall for him last year, and up over 50 RBIs last year.
It was pretty much penthouse or outhouse for Ryan SCHIMPF,
Yep.
wasn't it?
All or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, she drives one out towards deep right center field. Martin and Gamble going back, and that ball is gone into the berm. The second two-run home run of the inning for the Padres, and they put a 4 spot on the board here against Giovanni Gallardo. A 2-run shot for Myers. More recently, a 2-run shot for Ryan SCHIMPF. His second home run of the spring, and it's 4-0 Padres.
Ryan SCHIMPF is thinking, hey, Will Myers, you can go that way. Well, I can go that way as well. And it looks like by the swing, he gets it. He puts the head down into his trot. He knew that he had gotten it. The flags are blowing out. That looked like it was down towards the end of the bat just a little bit. It's time to wake up the SCHIMPF.
Yeah, you're right about the flags. They are august out there and headed in that direction. And this guy can certainly take it out of the yard. Jabari Blash. 6 home runs so far during the spring for Blash. Made an adjustment in his swing, tried to shorten it up a little bit, and it's paid dividends so far.
Well, the big key for Jabari, and we all know this, he is the type of hitter, when you look at him, he has got to crush the mistake. If he gets one mistake in at bat, that is the pitch that he has to capitalize on. He cannot let that ball go by. He cannot take it, even if it's the first pitch. Strike some fear into the opposing pitcher. If I see a guy come up to the plate who's 6 whatever, built like him, and he swings out of his shoes the first pitch at a good pitch, whoa, I'm a little tentative now. I might start to nibble a little bit, and then next thing you know, the count works to his favor. He might take a walk. Hey, he might strike out too, but he might get a mistake and crush it.
He goes 6'5", incidentally.
6'5" and full of muscle.
Yes, he is. 234.
Good layoff there, the high fastball. And big hitters like this, if I'm a pitcher, I'm going to go up out of the zone because they'll chase.
Gallardo trying to find his bearings here in the first inning. Still has just the 1 out in the inning. And the Padres have collected 4 runs on the benefit of 2 2-run home runs. Grounder left side now, picked by Seager. Able to plan and throw a changeup over to first base, but it gets there in time to get Blash for the second out here of the first inning.
Well, he made it close because Seager had to go to his left, and Jabari, for the big kid, 6'5", getting down the line quite nicely. Got him by about a half step. Now, Kyle Seager checking out the landscaping over there at third base. I don't know whether his wheels were spinning over there or what, but he's kind of checking it out.
Yeah, they've added some in the infield here, and of course, the longer you go during spring training, especially here in Arizona, the harder the surfaces get. And we've seen some pretty high hops and some hard infields here. Softly towards Segura, barehanded on the run and in time. Pretty play. Able to get Christian Bethancourt. How about the Padres coming to bat at the bottom of the first? 2-run shot for Will Myers. 2-run shot for Ryan SCHIMPF. It's 4-0 San Diego after 1. runs in the first inning. Pretty impressive first inning for the Padres from an offensive standpoint. Well, we got a battle going on here a little bit, and perhaps a sharing situation at third base. We thought this was the battle for second base when spring training started. Now it looks like they're going to share third base in a platoon situation during the year.
Adaptability, versatility, two guys that can play. Now, when I'm looking at third base, I think of plays that SCHIMPF has made and Corey Spangenberg has made, and one in particular was the play, the little chopper down the third base line and the bare hand job over to first base. We've seen Corey Spangenberg, and for Corey, he's got a pretty decent arm too. Now, as far as the range is concerned, who's got the better range at third base? One thing's for sure, you can interchange these guys, spell one other player, even in the outfield. Corey's played some left as well. So there's a lot of moving parts that Andy Green can do in a pinch if he wants to get some guys at bats or some rest for some guys as well.
And you're right, Spangenberg has seen time in left field so far during the spring. SCHIMPF was injured and just getting his bearings back as he returns to the lineup for the Padres, but already has 2 home runs already since coming back.
And let's face it, everybody would love a Manny Machado anchored at third base for 160 plus games a year. It's just not going to be the case.
Sharply hit into right field on a line, and over is Jabari Blash to get it back in quickly. Leadoff solid ringing single for Ben Gamel.
That ball was smoked like a Christmas ham. Ben Gamel going to the Travis Jankowski School of Coifs. As we take a look, straight fastball, and he is all over it. In fact, I'd like a payload comparison between Jankowski and Gamel. I think Gamel may have him beat a little bit.
Yep, I think so. Guillermo Heredia now standing in as the Padres go into double play depth. Yeah, you were commenting on Travis's hair right as we were about to do the open on the field as he came in, and team's got some good moss.
Yeah, good flow. I like it. My philosophy is if you've got it, flaunt it.
I saw on a baseball card the other day that you did have good moss at one point.
I rocked the mullet, late 80s.
How long did you let it get?
Longer than the collar.
Wow. Was it stringy or?
Straight.
Straight.
Yeah. Little flat top. Business up front, party in the back.
Right.
There's Travis. He's got the little top ramen working out of the lid. Yeah, I think Gamel's got him beat.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Looks good in the wind.
Makes you look faster.
Throw to first, and back to the bag is Gamel and his hair. The flags are gusting out there in center field, both to left center and right center, kind of shifting. And
tell you, that's the thing about the Cactus League, man. That wind will shift on you. As an outfielder, you got to keep those feet moving on the high fly ball.
Radius skies it foul off to the right, out of play.
And as a pitcher, you just got to concentrate and not let the wind affect you. Knowing that, if I give up a fly ball, it's got a chance of getting out of here. Well, you got to concentrate on making your pitches. If you're going to go up in the zone, make sure you go up enough to where they can't get on top of it. McGill's got a good firm fastball, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
It's straight, so he's going to have to locate it.
A couple of strikeouts in the first got SEGURA and ZUNINO.
Matt McGill from Simi Valley, the same area as Jared Weaver.
Shaking off Terens initially, but now agrees on what he's going to throw here with the runner at first.
Breaking ball.
Runner goes. There's your breaking ball, and it's chopped to third. SCHIMPF has no play at second and fires to first for the out. The Mariners had started the runner at first and stay out of the double play possibility. So one out in the inning with Gamel now at second base.
Did you see Terens behind home plate? He got it up into that wide stance, anticipating the breaking ball in the dirt. That's why I could tell it was going to be a breaking ball out of the hand of McGill. Usually for a fastball, the feet are more underneath the catcher, and you get a good solid setup. See the feet, watch the feet spread, anticipating the breaking ball in the dirt. And what do you know, Miguel spins it up there, the curveball, and he gets the ground ball.
That'll miss for ball 1 to GOSEWISCH. A tough spring for GOSEWISCH. Just a 121 average. The number is 4 for 53 during the spring.
I want to come back in another life as a catcher, and I'll tell you why. And I don't care if I hit 110.
I can't imagine why you would want to be a catcher.
And I don't care if I hit 110. You know why?
Why?
Because if I got a cannon for an arm, and if I can block pitches and I can call a game and I got a good reputation and I got a good repertoire, reputation with my pitching staff, guess what? You're going to catch. And even if it's a backup, I'll be a backup catcher for 16 years in the big leagues. You kidding me?
But then you take foul tips off your body the entire game.
Well, that's the kind of guy I am.
You're sore all the time.
Tough guy.
You're a tough guy.
Yeah. I just spit on it.
Okay.
It's more where that came from.
You're definitely one of the toughest guys I know.
I don't think so.
Leonard second with 1 out here in the second inning. And GOSEWISCH taking the high strike. It evens the count at 2-2. McGill getting his first start of the spring here for the Padres. 5 seasons in the big leagues for GOSEWISCH, and an average not up over 200. So a lot of the categories you were talking about describing Tuffy GOSEWISCH.
And it takes a special person, I think, to be that type of catcher, even if you know, especially if you're a backup. You know, you're going to spell a guy maybe once or twice a week. You're going to get that day game after a night game on the East Coast when it's about 95.
Late on that, and he strikes out. There's strikeout number 3 from McGill. 2 down here in the second inning.
A couple of times Matt McGill has dotted that outside corner right at the knees, and here's a perfect example. Watch the glove of Trent's. Doesn't even move, and he is late. Oh, muy tardy on that one. Good downward plane also from McGill on that heater.
So 2 down with Gamble at second base. Mike Freeman, the second baseman, standing in. Open stance from that left side with the runner at second. .275 so far during the spring for Freeman. Last year in the big leagues with both the Diamondbacks and the Mariners in his first major league experience. Snap toward to second base, and that's going to hit the runner and kick out to left center field. So Gamble will advance to third. Looked like it was going to be a relatively close play at second base, but then the throw hit the runner, and it gets away, and Gamble now 90 feet away as he takes third base.
Yeah, that's a tough E2. Big secondary lead, trying to sneak in behind, and bang. Off the runner, as you said, Don. E2. 2 outs. Hopefully McGill can make a great pitch here to get out of this inning.
So a tough error for Terrens. And this one fouled back to the screen by Freeman. And it's 2-1. 41 pitches so far for McGill through an inning and 2/3, and worked his way around a walk and a single in the first. Trying to work his way around a leadoff single here in the second inning. Falling behind 3-1.
Looked like McGill tried to toss up a changeup right there to give Freeman a different look.
And there's ball 4. The second walk allowed by McGill. First and third now for the Mariners. They'll bring up the top of the order, LEONYS Martin.
Well, not the worst fate, really, because a force at second base will get him out of this inning for a ground ball by McGill.
Martin walked his first time up. Left at second base after a wild pitch. And the curveball in there for a strike.
I love that. First pitch breaker. Runners at the corners.
Check on first. The lead was not terribly large, but Freeman diving back anyway. And Myers is now holding him on at first base, which is different. We've been seeing Will play off the bag all spring, and apparently he's gone back to the more conventional way of holding runners on.
In my honest opinion, I like the traditional way. But that's just one guy's opinion.
I agree.
Nothing wrong with trying it out, though.
He looked uncomfortable, though, doing it during the spring, I thought.
It's a different look.
There's no question.
Yeah.
And also a different look for pitchers, I would think. I mean, you tell me, but throwing over there to a guy who's not on the bag, it's got to be different.
We've talked about that, and in pitchers, you should throw to a spot, not to the player position at the bag like he is positioned. Like the inside part of the bag would be the spot that I would concentrate on, the inside corner in fair territory, down from the ankle to the knee. Here, I'll use my telestrate. Oh, anyway, see where the corner of the bag is on the inside part by his right foot. That area up to his knee. That's where the area would be that I would concentrate on throwing that pickoff move.
That's high, and it's 2-2. So even if he was standing off the bag, you would still throw to that area?
Yes.
Doesn't matter where he's standing then in your estimation.
Because as he was standing before, like we saw him, that area that I'm talking about is his low left-hand side.
That's where he's going.
That's right. It's almost like a quarterback throwing to a receiver. He's not throwing to the receiver. He's throwing to a spot. The receiver needs to get to that spot. He's leading him.
Three balls, 2 strikes, 2 down. Runners at the corners. And a swing and a miss. McGill able to get the strikeout of Martin and gets out of the jam. The Mariners strand 2. Padres lead it 4-0.
The Lex.
Mariners every weekday morning. Have some coffee with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. They go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. It's Undisputed with Skip and Shannon. Weekdays from 6:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific, only on FS1.
Luis Torrens leading it off here for the Padres, and he'll take the breaking ball from Gallardo, who's trying to improve on his second inning after being roughed up in the first. Allowing a 2-run shot to Will Myers, a 2-run home run to Ryan Schimpf, and all that adds up to a 4-0 Padres lead. Torrens has had a quiet spring. The Rule 5 pick for the Padres has gone 4 for 29 during the spring, and Padres have some decisions to make and not a lot of time to make them. You got just a couple of days left here of spring training now.
Let me ask you something. And it's all opinion. It's all just
sure.
Of the Rule 5 guys?
Yes.
Torrens, Cordoba, and Diaz. What'd be wrong with them breaking camp with him?
I don't have a problem with any of the three.
Because I think, here's the way I look at it. Everybody, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not in the business of predictions.
This is sharply hit towards deep right center field. See if the wind helps. It is back, and one hop the wall as Martin plays the carom. Into second base goes Torrens, a leadoff gapper double out to deep right center field. It's 4-10 out there in that direction.
If it's going to be one of those years for the Padres where it's going to be somewhat of a challenge to compete, would you want to hang on to those guys a full year at the big league level and let them learn on the job so you can keep them in the organization, or send them back, risk and sending them back to the team that they came from? Does that make sense?
Yes, but they have to determine if they can carry that many. That's the only hard part about that is taking up that many roster spots to keep all three. Now, last year, he really only kept 2 for part of the year when Perdomo, of course, who spent the entire year up in the Rule 5, and Jabari Blash ended up, they worked out an agreement. They got to offer him back to the team you took him from, which was these Mariners at the time. And he stayed within the organization. But
so just a thought,
It is a thought. I think it's difficult to do, though.
It is difficult.
And Jabari is certainly making a very big case this year, especially with the injury to Alex Dickerson that has created even more room in the outfield for the Padres. And, of course, what Blash has done at the plate with the 6 home runs and all the walks, and his plate discipline has been terrific so far during the spring.
It's amazing the domino effect, and every team faces it, to where if one player goes down who's going to be in the plans, and it's just, okay, next guy, and then it just changes the whole dynamic of a ball club. Because let's face it, I think we agree on, Don, what we saw from Alex Dickerson last year.
Roller to Seager, who throws to first for the out of Ibar. Torrens will take third base. They get a feel for Alex Dickerson. I mean, this year coming in, certainly a big part of what was going to be in the outfield, and back just never right from last year, and this year now sideline, kind of a bulging disc situation. Manuel Margot fouled out to the first baseman Danny Valencia in the first inning, 0 for 1. And a grounder right side. Freeman ranging. He'll go to first, and a run will score in the back door. From third base coming in was Torrens, and the Padres up their lead to 5-0.
Ah, you love baseball. Baseball, that's baseball. Taking the ball the opposite way. Looked like Freeman was shading up towards the middle of the diamond, had all that way to go and enough time for Torrens to score, to add on.
Some base is empty now, and here is Travis Jankowski. It'll be also interesting to see whether the Padres keep Perdomo here to begin the year, whether he goes back to AAA to begin the year. Same goes for Manny Margot and what they decide to do there to begin the year.
See, that's the advantage of what Perdomo did last year, being with the club. He stayed the whole year, so now they can send him down, whether it's AAA or wherever, to start. I mean, he is a starter. They're not going to want him to make the team out of spring training and be a bullpen guy. No, that's not the case.
Jankowski pulling it back and taking the strike, and a look back at home plate umpire J.J. January doing the umpiring today behind the plate, with Chris Guccione at first base, Corey Blazer at second, and Tom Woodring, the umpire, at third today. See a confidence in Jankowski this year, though. I mean, he looks very comfortable during spring.
Most certainly does. And he wants to add on from what he did last year. He wants to contribute, be a major contributor, be an everyday guy.
Out to left field, and Heredia moving over and under to make the catch that ends the inning. Padres had a run. We played 2 from Peoria. It's 5-0 San Diego. Afternoon for the Padres on top 5-0 as we get ready for the top of the third. And we've spent a lot of time talking about the starting rotation for the Padres. This much we know. Clayton Richard, Jhoulys Chacín, and Jared Weaver are part of the rotation. Really 3 guys now vying for 2 spots, with Christian Friedrich beginning the year on the DL. And Bob Scanlon is along with us down below as well. And there's a fly ball into shallow center field. Solarte out, Margot in. An easy play for Margot. And you know, you start talking about Luis Perdomo and some of the other guys. Service time is an issue, Scan, no?
It really is, Don and Mud, and you guys were talking about the construction of this roster, and of course the front office is always going to take into consideration how can they hang on to guys, not only for the short run in terms of having depth in your roster, but also looking further down the road. If you've got a player that you think will be a part of your roster 6 years from now, you want to try to get that extra year of service time, and the magic number is 23. So you have 23 days or less. You can be short that full 6 years in the big leagues and still be a free agent after your 6th season. So you look at a guy like Margot, who got 12 days up in the big leagues last year. Well, he would need 12 more days down in the minor leagues potentially this year to get him over that 23-day mark. In other words, give him 24 days in the minors to allow the Padres to hang on to him for that extra 7th season. So it'll be interesting to see if the front office tries to do anything with preserving him and Luis Perdomo.
I like to call it the Chris Bryant rule, because remember, that was the Cubs and Chris Bryant,
yep.
And then he was called up against the Padres. We saw his debut, and what do you know? It's because of those days in the minor leagues. It's going to be another extra year, right, before he's going to be a lifetime Cub probably, but still that extra year, right?
Exactly, and it was even more controversial for the Cubs last year because everybody knew coming into the season that they were probably going to be a World Series contending team, at least expected to be so. So do you want to compromise a few wins early in the season to try to gain that extra year of service time that you own that player? It worked out okay for the Cubs last year. In fact, it worked out perfectly. They got to have their cake in the World Series, and they'll eat it too with the extra year of service time they have control over Chris Bryant.
Scan, let me ask you this. Do you worry at all about his psyche, though, after spending the year last year in the big leagues, kind of developing in the big leagues, having success in the big leagues, and then going back to the PCL, where it can be tough on pitchers?
Don, that is a great question. It's really the question. How does it affect the guy psychologically, and especially with a guy like Perdomo, who did such a great job second half last year, and now you're going to tell that young man, hey, we're going to start you off down in the minor leagues just to try to salvage your service time? That's a tough sell. However, keep in mind the fact that Perdomo didn't throw that many innings last year, and you got to be careful about extending the innings, so there might be an opportunity to send him down to save the innings and save the service time at the same time.
Well, no question, he was fun to watch last year and has a very bright future with the Padres.
And I'm sure there's enough coaching, Scan and Don, as far as the coaching staff is concerned, with Darren Ballsy saying, hey, don't consider this as a demotion. This is only to help you get better, because we want you for the long haul. And it takes a certain individual. Everybody would be different, but I think with the coaching and the patting on the rear end and on the back, to where that kid's going to get enough confidence to go down and say, okay, I see what you're trying to do here, and I'm going to buy along with you.
And to that point, I agree with you 100%. And also, I think if you're Perdomo, you have to keep in mind, this is the organization that gave me the opportunity in the first place. Mm-hmm. It's not as though they don't have confidence in me. They hung on to me last year as a Rule 5 guy and gave me that opportunity. So hopefully, if that should happen, that he will look at it that way.
Had never pitched above A ball prior to last year, and Padres taking a flyer on him. Boy, I look back to that game he had against the Marlins in Miami last year.
That was fun to watch, wasn't it?
Special.
The look on his face when he recorded that last out for the complete game. It was like a little leaguer knowing that he's going to get a $1 treat after the game and go raid the snack bar.
Hey, do you guys think that what happened with Perdomo last year is a little bit more of an incentive for the Padres to maybe keep 3 Rule 5 guys this year?
That was my point earlier, Scan, and I agree. And with the way that, the team is structured this year, to give those guys the look for a full year, so then after that you can send them to A ball or AA, whatever, to give them that taste and what it's like at the big league level and hang on to them for a full year. I think that could work out. A lot depends on the type of team, though, you're working with.
And do you have the space on your roster to carry 3 guys you got to keep all year? And one of them is a catcher. You're thinking of the Terran situation there, whether or not it is a situation where you would keep him for the full year. How many catchers are going to carry? At one point they were talking about possibly having 4 catchers if you consider Bethancourt as a catcher. That's a lot of catchers. This is down the line and left and foul in that scenario.
Well, a lot of variables. As you mentioned, what is your roster makeup? Can you carry all those guys? And also it comes down to your evaluation of the player. Do you still see him as an impact player down the road eventually and worth taking that chance? So a lot for the Padres to take into account. I got it, guys.
Either you do or Myers does.
You take it.
Yeah, Myers will take it instead. Well, the Wind played with that, no doubt. A 1-2-3 inning from McGill. 5-0 San Diego. Grant and Bob Scanlon back at the Peoria Sports Complex with the Padres on top 5-0. And we've been talking about the rotation, and you really have 3 guys fighting for 2 spots currently here with a week to go in spring training.
We just gave a lot of love to Luis Perdomo. We know what he did last year. Now, Jared Cosart, 26 years old. Trevor Cahill, 29 years old. More starting experience. The thing I look at for Cahill, though, he started 17 games in 2014 for Arizona. But after that, the last 2 years, not a lot of starts. Building up that arm strength as far as being a starter, I mean, that could be a question mark for Trevor Cahill, although he's a known starter back in the day with Oakland and Arizona. And then, of course, Jared Cosart, still only 26, live arm. Had a little work done on that arm, and hopefully he bounces back nicely.
And Will Myers with a 2-run shot in the first inning, getting his second look here at Gallardo. And a good pitch there at the knees. Now, Christian Friedrich would have been part of that conversation, but he will begin the year on the DL. And of course, Paul Clemens was in the mix and was released by the organization last week after having a few starts here during the spring. And the reason for the release at the time, give him an opportunity to catch on with somebody else at this stage of the spring, when the Padres had decided that he would not be part of the battle for a starting rotation spot. Myers sends this out to center field. Martin, battling the sun, will take care of it shy of the track for the first out of the 3rd inning.
Really wasn't the best swing from Will, and wind aided, no doubt, because those flags atop the batter's eye have got some heavy starch. Old Glory, look at that.
So 4 in a row retired by Gallardo, and with 1 away, here is Solarte. Talked about him taking over at second base, and Andy Green really impressed with the pivot that he makes on the double play, and that's something that has come into play here in the situation, how comfortable he's been at second base.
I've always admired a second baseman with the good footwork around the bag, and it takes a lot of work. I think you got to anticipate, first of all, a good throw. It's the bad throw, then you've got a runner coming in, and of course the rules have changed at second base. You can't go in a la Chase Utley, right?
The Chase Utley rule. Out to left field. And Heredia will play it, but it is Solarte's second hit of the day. And both have been in that direction. So 2 for 2 for Solarte today. 5 hits in all for the Padres against Gallardo. And he has yet to have a clean 1-2-3 inning in his outing. So 1 out, runner at first, and Ryan Schimpf, who hit a 2-run home run back in the first inning. Second home run of the spring for Schimpf. And getting the catcher as GOSEWISCH takes the brunt of that on the foul tip. 0-1.
Did you ever catch?
No.
Amateur,
Never.
Little League? Really?
No, not even in the backyard. No.
Really?
No.
Tell you what, I think everybody should, if you play baseball, you know, any level, get back there behind, whether it's for an inning or two or a whole game, just make you appreciate what a catcher really does.
I appreciate it from here.
I caught one game in Little League.
Really?
Yeah.
Let it go.
And that was it.
Decided it wasn't for you. Plus, you threw like 97 miles an hour, too, right?
Too much going on for this guy.
Yeah. It is a thinking man's position, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
0-2 the count to Ryan Schimpf.
There were a few times, and I can still see through that mask, just in Little League, peering out at the pitcher, and the pitcher's just looking in. I'm thinking to myself, what's he doing? I got to put down a sign. Seriously, true story.
He's waiting for me.
There were a couple times he's waiting for me to put. Fastball. Yeah. So I thought, nah, I'll just stick to the mound.
I think you made a really good decision. I don't know if you had help.
I can take orders. I just can't give orders.
I don't know if you had help with the decision. If a coach said to you after.
No, we never gave. Back in the day when I was playing, no. We called the game.
Oh, okay.
You know what? That didn't come. That didn't come into play till. Even like in high school, I don't remember my coach calling pitches.
I had signs in Little League.
Really?
Yeah, there were signs going on. I was at second base, and I could see what was going on. This is out to left. Heredia coming in, and that's going to drop in for a base hit. So Ryan Schimpf is 2 for 2 as Solarte takes second base. Are you against signs?
I am against it, and I'll tell you why. I'm just a firm believer to where baseball is a game of failure. You're going to have to learn how to turn it around and learn the game and from your mistakes. If I'm coaching a team of 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, hey, you guys learn together. Learn on your own.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, don't be relying on a coach. Because then you get reliant on that where you're looking all the time. I want them to learn on the fly. You're going to and then maybe in between innings or after the game, then you talk about it.
2 on, 1 away, and
what do you
Jabari
think?
Blash batting. I agree with you. My first year of Little League, I did not have signs until I got to the All-Star game, and then the manager there put signs on, and it confused me to no end. I had to learn signs for one game. But then there were signs the next year.
You made the All-Star team?
I did. Little League we're talking about. This conversation's about Little League.
Still.
You're surprised by that?
My guess is that it wasn't really a strong All-Star team.
It was really strong. Really strong. There were probably 4 guys from that game that made it to the major leagues. Our shortstop, third base, left fielder, all big leaguers. No, nobody made it. 2-0. Strike over the outside corner.
See, we just saw what a lot of pitchers will probably do to Jabari Blash. Having that threat of the long ball, 2-0 fastball count, but Gallardo being the veteran guy, he flips up a slider. And that's something that Jabari Blash is going to have to get used to if he breaks with the club and sees big league pitching on a regular basis.
You always hear scouts say, don't make too much of spring training. Yeah. And you got to think about it. I mean, in different times when these guys are facing, who are they facing? Are they facing minor leaguers late in the game? Because the starters generally, for the most part, don't go beyond 4 or 5.
You think an A-ball pitcher at this level in spring training is going to throw that nasty 2-1 slider on the outside corner when he's behind in the count? Probably not.
Probably not.
But you know what, though? When the bell rings and you leave with the team and you're one of the 25, you're going to be seeing that.
Sharply hit and ripped towards the end of the Mariners dugout. Fractured bat for Jabari Blash. Now, for instance, the Padres will be dealing with Clayton Kershaw on opening day. Facing a lot of A-ball pitchers during the spring. You got Clayton Kershaw right out of the gate.
Thanks. What's that, year 3 in a row?
Yeah, I think so. Of course, last year the Padres did not score a run in that first series against the Dodgers, and it's a tough way to begin the year.
You think?
This year it'll be at Dodger Stadium, so the venue change I think will help. And then you got the Giants and dealing with Bumgarner and others in that series. Cueto, who was terrific against the Padres. You can make an argument that Cueto was the best starter against the Padres last year. Full count to Jabari Blash with 1 out. And Solarte at second, Schimpf at first.
See if Gallardo throws a slider up there or tries to locate a fastball down and away. Looks like it might be a breaking ball here. Little slider, yep.
Popped up right side, should be infield fly rule. It is. And Freeman at second base puts it away for the second out of the inning. Well, look at the first week of the season, as we mentioned, 4 with the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. Monday, April the 3rd, opening day. And then it'll be home to take on the San Francisco Giants. The home opener on Friday at 2 p.m. Saturday, a late afternoon game at 5. And then Sunday, military opening day at 1 p.m. It's a very short homestand for the Padres. And then they will head out, and part of the next trip will open up the brand new stadium in Atlanta. And the Braves home opener, and the Padres will be there.
I don't care what anybody says. Opening day, any level, anywhere, it's special. It's great.
Christian Bethancourt getting his 9th at-bat of the spring. We've seen him pitch. We've seen him in the outfield. He had a walk-off home run here the other night. And now he drives one to right field pretty far. Gamble headed over. He dives and makes the catch on the warning track. Gamble in right field, able to make the grab. Good running catch, full extension out there. Robs Bethancourt and the Padres of some runs. What a play by Gamble, laying it out. It's 5-0 Padres.
Welcome to
And so far the start for Matt McGill, who's got 3 shutout innings through the first 3 innings against a good Mariners lineup today.
I like the firm fastball. We saw a wrinkle there in the curveball for Matt McGill for the strikeout. He's been doing a nice job, the right-handed hitters, down and away, knee high with that 4-seam fastball. There's a nice little slider right there to get ahead.
Mike ZUNINO leading it off here, a guy that McGill struck out in the first inning, and 4 Ks for him so far through the first 3 innings, and jumped ahead here 0-2. Dealing with 5, 6, and 7 here in the 4th inning.
All together! Let's go!
ZUNINO, the DH. Almost on the corner there, but it evens at 2-2. Gill fresh off his first 1-2-3 inning of his outing. Breaking ball popped up, foul ground, and Torrens will discard the mask and not make the catch.
That's the third baseman's ball. Don't you agree?
I agree. It'd probably be easier for him.
Yeah.
Ryan Schimpf coming down the line.
You know, with the wind blowing the way it is, that ball is up the elevator shaft, and that ball's going to come back anyway because of the rotation of that ball towards the infield. So that's Ryan Schimpf's ball. Because once Torrens, I'll tell you where he got caught. No man's land. Okay, off with the mask. Watch when he starts to, right there. He starts to drift, and look at Ryan Schimpf. He had plenty of time to go over there and call him off.
In the air, down the right field line. Blash will move back and handle out number 1 of the inning. Now, Scans, your thoughts so far on Matt McGill getting the spot start today?
You know, he's really been impressive, both with the fastball command, and he's thrown a nice little breaking ball. He's shown a lot of composure today as well. And, Mud, you know as well as I do the importance of a game like this for a guy like Matt McGill, who really isn't going to get a look any other way. This is his main opportunity to show off to this coaching staff, and I think he's handled himself really well. These are the types of games that can all of a sudden open up the coaching staff's eyes that later on during the season, hey, how's McGill throwing? He made a good impression on us in spring training.
Well put, Scan. Can't say it any better than that. You are absolutely right.
You know, I think back to Dale Thayer several years ago when he was trying to make the club, and he was just one of 20 guys coming out of the bullpen. There was a game over at Talking Stick where the Padres were getting pummeled. They'd given up about 14 runs in a game. Routine play for Solarte. Anyway, Thayer comes in this 14-run blowout and just shuts the Rockies down 1-2-3. And it was just that breath of fresh air that the Padres needed at that moment. And all of a sudden, he was on the radar screen and ended up making the club. So you never know when those opportunities present themselves. And I think McGill's made the most of it today.
That's going to do it for him as he has retired the last 6 in a row and certainly finishes on a very good note. So pitching change here with 2 down in the 4th. 5-0 Padres.
Padres Spring Training Baseball is always live with the MLB.com at-bat mobile app. It's a great app. Don has it. I have it. Bob Scanlon has it. Mark Sweeney has it. Stay connected all spring with radio broadcasts, video highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat today. It's your #1 app for live baseball. Now you can't beat fun at the old ballpark.
5-0 Padres on top, and Brad Hand, the left-handed reliever, into the game here for the Padres. What a year he had last year for the Padres.
It was fun to watch. And Brad Hand, you know, kind of struggling prior to when he got to the Padres, but he turned it around nicely. ERA 2.5 to spring. 2.5, I should say. But last year, phenomenal work out of the bullpen for Brad Hand. The strikeout, fewer hits than innings pitched. Just a great year for the left-hander.
2.92 ERA last year and 82 appearances. By far the most he's ever had in his career.
You got to hand it to him.
Brad Hand? Yeah, the most he had prior to last year was 38 appearances.
Give him a hand.
And he had 82 last year. You're talking about strikeouts, 89 and a third innings. Ended up with 111 strikeouts a year ago. And the opponent batting average under 200 at 195 for Brad Hand.
And the strikeouts, 111 in 89 plus innings. It's incredible. It's worth mentioning again. It's so phenomenal.
I thought there was an echo in the booth. But
sometimes there are stats that are worth mentioning twice.
Yes, but that definitely is worth it. 111 and 89 and a third.
I look at, not only do I look at hits to innings pitched and strikeouts, but opponent's batting average, because there are pitchers out there, and you've seen it, Don, to where they have the strikeout, but yet the opponent's batting average is like plus 300. That's because they're giving up big hits.
Well, I looked to last year, and to me, the biggest surprises in the bullpen, Hand and Buchter were both huge parts of last season's team.
And two left-handers at that. How many times is that going to happen? That's why it's been a great find for the Padres, and good job by the scouts and A.J. Preller to acquire those two left-handers.
And heading into this year, no doubt the bullpen is the strength of this team going in. And how far the rotation can get, how deeply into games they can get to that pen, that certainly will shorten the game, because that pen is very strong. And very much looking forward to the debut of Carter Capps today, who could be a big part of it.
Gas coming right at you.
And 6 in a row retired by McGill before he left this game. Guillermo Heredia batting here with 2 outs, bases empty, and a full count.
A strikeout would be nice here to end this inning. Breaking ball. Little cutter. Ooh, where'd that one miss? Was that ball 4? Count was 3-2, no?
It was. Just got the news, and he'll head down to first base. Wasn't sure of the count, and he will take first.
4 balls. You take your base there, big boy.
That's a third walk allowed today by Padres pitching. That's something that we didn't see Hand do too much. First batter walk last year, and he does here with 2 down in the 4th inning. And
you know what else is great about guys like Hand and the years they had coming in with runners on base and getting that punch out, leaving them stranded? That's a starting pitcher's best friend when they got a guy coming in like that.
Tuffy GOSEWICH, who struck out swinging in the 2nd inning. McGill had 4 strikeouts in 3 2/3 innings through 72 pitches in those 3 2/3. Line and caught at third base. Schimpf with a good reaction play there and a hot shot right at him. We have played 3.5. It's 5-0 San Diego. San Diego presents Padres Baseball, brought to you by Petco, your complete pet store with all the nutrition, supplies, and services you need to support and health and well-being of your pet. And by Nissan, the choice is clear. Save on a new Nissan now. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Last of the fourth inning, breezy day here in Arizona. And some clouds with us from time to time, but plenty of sunshine and a warm afternoon. The last week of spring training here in Peoria for the Padres.
Walking on sunshine.
Luis Torrens leading it off here for the Padres, 8-9-1. And a first pitch strike for Torrens, who doubled in the second inning and came around to score the Padres' 5th run of the day. Outfield deep end straight away, and that breeze has been a factor. Get anything in the air today, and you got a chance. Padres with a couple of home runs today, both coming in the first inning. Will Myers with a 2-run shot in the first, and Ryan SCHIMPF with a 2-run shot also in the first inning.
I'll tell you what, those flags are really whipping now.
Yes, they are. Weather has been phenomenal, though, during spring training. A little bit of rain the first week we were down here when workouts are taking place on the backfields in those first 2 weeks of drills every day. But once the game started, it really improved.
I love the desert in the springtime. Spring and fall.
Chop foul, and it is 2-2.
Yeah, you experience it for the first time, and you know, as a kid, I can only speak personally, but as a kid, you watch TV and you see the teams. When you grew up in northern Illinois and you see shots from Florida, you see shots from Arizona, and it's like all of a sudden now you get a chance to do that, and it's like, oh man, this is what it's all about.
Spring training is a pretty special time of the year.
Yeah, it is.
Chop towards a third baseman. Seager picks on the half hop and retires Torrens for the first out here at the bottom of the 4th inning.
Was your first spring training ever as an announcer?
It was. Yeah, I had never been as a kid to visit. Did you go as a kid to visit?
Oh, I did not, no. Couldn't afford it. I mean, we were so poor, we couldn't even pay attention in our house.
One out here in the 4th inning, and it'll bring up Eric Ibar. So your first spring training was probably as a player?
As a player.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Ibar grounded out to third base, and Kyle Seager, first time up.
Now, through time, 2017, the facilities, the venues are just pristine. They're unbelievable. Even on the minor league side, okay? The fields are great. The locker room, very nice. You know what we got in spring training? My first spring training was, I signed as a senior out of high school, 1981. First spring training, 82. You know what we were given when it was time to break after morning workouts? Cookies? We stood in a line. It was like in a prison scene, to where there was a guy with a big steel pot and a bowl of fruit, and he had a ladle, a cup of soup, and an apple.
That's it.
Go get them. Now they've got like filet mignon.
Oh, yeah.
Chicken teriyaki.
It's amazing.
Vegetables, fruit salad, yogurt.
But you know what? It's probably just as well you weren't eating that well then.
So you wanted to keep the LBs off.
Right. I mean, everything's changed, and you're right about the facilities. I mean, the facilities are terrific now. Not all of them were that way. This is only my second year in the Cactus League. But one of the advantages of the Cactus League, no doubt, is the travel. There is no question about that. I mean,
it's the best.
Very, very quick to each complex, and the fact that so many of these complexes are shared, much like the Padres and Mariners do here, but so many are. It makes it so much easier.
Mm-hmm. If you're a fan, you can go to 2 to 3 facilities a day, even more.
Well, one out walk here for Ibar. Second walk given up by Gallardo. Still with 1 out and 1 on. Manuel Margot coming up. A pinch runner at first base. That's going to be the day for Ibar. Looks like Dusty Coleman will take over at first base. So Coleman now running for Ibar. Ibar got 2 plate appearances.
Well, Gallardo getting some innings in. Stretching him out.
Getting to that time of the spring.
Yep.
Infield a double play depth with 1 out and 1 on. Made that drive yesterday from San Diego here to Arizona. Now, if you haven't done it before, it's a little on the dicey side. I mean, should you go off the road, say, at night? I'm not sure too many people would ever find you again. Have you done it? Have you driven it?
Many times.
You have. And you're not afraid?
No.
No.
Not at all.
No. I was a little nervous.
Used to it. I actually enjoy that drive.
You see some stuff. There's no doubt about that. I mean, there's some stuff out there in the desert. This one has popped up foul off to the right out of play.
It's like anything else, I believe. You have to keep a positive frame of mind, because if you start thinking, oh my gosh, if I blow out,
right,
if I blow a gasket, if a fan belt goes or something.
Yeah, because you're a positive thinker. You're an optimist. Last year, one of the times I drove out here, I drove over what I think was a rattlesnake. It was a snake.
Really?
And when I went over it, I looked in the rearview mirror and I didn't see it. Meaning that I thought the snake jumped up into the hood and was in the car.
You could use it as a fan belt.
It's about 110 degrees, and I decided to shut off the air conditioning completely because I thought the snake would come through the fence. Throw to first. It's not a
Snake's in a car.
So it's 1,000 degrees in the car the whole way here, because I would not turn the air conditioning on because I was convinced the snake was in the hood and would come through one of the vents into the car while I was driving.
Right. Kind of pulling off the breaking ball a little bit, but good hustle, because Freeman had to go to his left. I mean, that's a good play. No room for mistake there for Freeman.
Yeah, credit Margot, beating it out all the way down the line.
Was Samuel L. Jackson sitting next to you?
No, I was driving alone.
The snake is going to come.
Because I swear the snake was in front of me. I went over it, and then I looked in the rearview mirror. There was no snake.
That's pretty funny.
As Jankowski will take a pitch inside. So I was convinced the snake had hopped up into the hood and now is in the car. It's just a matter of coming through any of the 4 vents that were open until I closed all of them and shut off the air conditioning.
So you're willing
in the
to
middle of the desert
sweat?
Yes. Oh, no
profusely.
Question. What happens if it comes through one of those vents? Now it's in the car with me. No.
That's pretty funny.
That was my first driving to spring training experience last year. 1-0. He's going to miss to Jankowski, who today has walked and scored and flied out to left field. Chance here for the Padres to add on to what already is a 5-0 advantage. In the dirt nicely, GOSEWICH able to gather that.
You know how you cool down your engine if you're overheating, right?
I don't.
Turn on your heater.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. So that
if your car is overheating and you're in the desert, roll down the windows, turn on the heater.
Wow. I would never have guessed that.
Yeah.
That makes zero sense to me. I'm not doubting you, but that makes no sense to me. Make it hotter, make the fire hotter. That's a strike.
Circulates the water more through the system.
And cools off the engine.
Cools it off.
Huh. It's good stuff. I didn't know that.
See?
I would never have known that.
You're going to sweat like a pig, but at least you'll get to where you're going.
I must have driven almost 3 hours with no air conditioning through the desert.
Did you roll down the windows?
Yes, but I still was very concerned a snake was in the car. That's strike 3, Jankowski frozen. And that is the first strikeout of the day for Gallardo.
And that's one of the things that Travis does not want to get punched out on, is it looked like a fastball. It was right there. And looking at the at-bat, looks like he was kind of guessing a little bit. And through time, that's an adjustment that Travis will have to make, and he knows that. You don't want to get beat on that fastball, especially a good fastball for a called third strike.
Here's Will Myers hit a 2-run shot on the first, flied out to center in the third, and jumping on that first offering. Fouls it off to the grandstand to the right. For Myers, his 3rd home run of spring training. After 28 home runs during the regular season last year, and had 94 runs batted in last year.
Good stop.
Myers played in 157 games a year ago for the Padres.
You know what I can't get out of my head? Is the head of a rattlesnake coming out your vent and you're going down
That's all I could think about.
I-10.
I mean, I would have driven off the road. There's no way to get away from a snake coming through a vent into your car while you're driving 65 miles an hour. On the corner that time. Almost looked like the same pitch. 2-2. And I was convinced it was in that hood. I still think it was in that hood. It couldn't have gone anywhere else. There was no other explanation. Fouled off to the right out of play, and we'll do it again.
That's what pitchers will try to do to Will Myers. Try to get in on him. That's exactly what Gallardo tried to do there. Fastball down and in. Hey, Will Myers hit the home run to right center. First time up, right? He got extended. Something up and away. How do you counter that? Cheese on the inner half and down. Now Gallardo, being the veteran pitcher he is, he might throw a little wrinkle down and away here after busting him inside. See how GOSEWISCH sets up as well. Remember with the spread legs behind home plate indicates a breaking ball possibly. Let's see if he does that or if he's straight up on the fastball. Breaking ball. Yep.
Yeah, swing and a miss. Did try the wrinkle down and away, and Myers chased it. Play 4. It's 5-0 San Diego.
Snakes in a car.
Look out. Padres have the lead over the Mariners. We get ready for the top of the 5th, but first, here's Bob Scanlon.
Don, thanks. I'm down here with Eric Ibar, shortstop for the Padres, and along with David Longley. He has a long title that we're not going to go into, but basically he's helping out the Latin American affairs here with the Padres organization. He's going to help us out with the translating. First of all, Eric, congratulations. You're having a great spring training. Looks like you're getting the timing down with the hitting. How do you feel up there? Felicidades en su primavera. Está bateando muy duro. ¿Cómo siente con su tiempo allá bateando?
Well, I feel good. You know what I mean? Just come here every day and go to the cage and work in the tee and soft start. And every time when I go to the take BP, take the ball the other way and land right to the middle and side to side.
David, I think we got that part. But we have you here just in case we need you. Exactly. You know, different camp for you coming in. You've got a bunch of young guys around you, but you seem comfortable with those young guys. ¿Está cómodo con los jóvenes? ¿Está ayudando con ellos también? ¿Cómo sientes con ellos?
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's when you come to a new thing and you see a lot of young kids, you try to help a lot. So I'll be there and talk to the guys and try to push more pressure and let go that pressure and play baseball. Huh?
Eric, did you have a mentor when you were a younger player that helped you the way that you're helping these young players now?
Yeah, there's a lot of guys. When grew up, Vladimir Guerrero there and Orlando Cabreras. There's a lot of guys, you know what I mean, helping a lot. So, and I'll try to do the same thing when a young guy here.
You know, you've got a lot of players to learn over here. You got Solarte at second base, SCHIMPF, Spangenberg, a bunch of guys at different positions. Are you still kind of trying to learn their range as you know how to position yourself at shortstop?
Yeah, you know what I mean. I always talk with the guys, when Solarte and then other guys, so and try to move side to side and tell who hitting and not hitting, like with somebody running a lot, so we have to chill a little bit. And when the guy not running, we play back. And I always tell her, play back a little bit, or play in, or move to the right side, left side.
Last question for you. We'll let you go and get some refreshments in there. The pitching that you're facing now, any difference facing the National League pitchers? Is there going to be a little bit of a learning curve for you potentially coming over to the National League and seeing some new arms?
Well, I think that, you know what I mean? Every release is like a pitch. You know what I mean? You have to go to the home plate and see the ball and hit it out. You know what I mean? Think the other way and take your pitch.
Eric, thanks for the time. Keep up the great work.
All right, thank you.
David, you killed it today. Thanks for your...
Good stuff, good stuff.
All right. Eric Ibar, David Longley, guys, back to you.
Hey, Scan, nice outline. That's
it was tremendous.
That's
I was not
great.
ready for that. I was not prepared for that.
I knew Scan could habla, and he hablas very well.
Wow. Very impressive.
Thanks, Bob.
You know, David has been a very big help for us last year and this year as far as interpreting goes, but unnecessary with Bob Scanlon, as it turns out. Now, what Bob was asking, I really don't know. Do you know?
I don't. There was a couple words that kind of stuck out a little bit, but Bob playing many years in winter ball in South America and has a good ear for that and does very well. I'm impressed.
Wick into the game here, third Padres pitcher of the day. And a liner out towards right center. Cordoba on the run. We'll get there. Alec Cordoba out there in center field makes the grab.
Made that look easy.
As a 1-2-3-5, it's 5-0 Padres. Presented by authority of the San Diego Padres and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the San Diego Padres.
What's that all about?
That's right.
Why do you get to read the copyright?
I don't know. The producer hands me the copy. I read it. I guess a decision has been made. I don't know why. We head to the bottom of the 5th inning. It's 5-0. The Padres have the lead.
That was a great shot of the Grand Canyon, wasn't it?
I didn't see it because I was reading the promo.
Say, well, if you knew it by heart like I do,
to read it.
You could enjoy the views of the Grand Canyon.
Well, I think the more I do it this year, the better I'll get.
Oh, okay.
This is dropped out to shallow right center field, and Solarte, he's 3 for 3. He singled to left twice, and now out to right center field. And that'll be the day for Solarte. After that base hit, the pinch run for him. River Stevens will be running at first base. So Stevens now into the game. A good day today for Solarte. We talked about the guys up the middle.
Yeah, you think he's happy that WBC's over with? Obviously, right?
Well, I think he wanted to get back. I don't think there's much out there, and he did not get the playing time that I think he anticipated.
Exactly.
Team Venezuela.
Hey, let's face it. Yangervis Solarte, he's our guy. We want him to play, right? We want him to have success, and especially in the WBC for his club. Didn't get a lot of time. He handled it great, but it's good to have Yangervis back.
Padres kind of took exception to the way that he was used, a guy coming off leg injuries and being used as a pinch runner early in the tournament.
It's a good egg right there. Huevo bueno.
Well, his day is over. Good day for him. 3 hits in 3 at-bats for Solarte. And starts this inning with a base hit. Stevens runs for him at first. And a check on Stevens, who dives back head first. Big gap out in left center field for Ryan Schimpf, who homered in the first inning, a 2-run home run, and then a single to left in the 3rd inning.
Hey, it's got to be a treat for River Stevens. Escondido boy.
A home run for Schimpf, his 2nd of the spring, back in the 1st inning. That was with Solarte at first base, and a 2-run shot for Ryan Schimpf, 20 of them during the regular season last year.
Maybe some of the Stevens family is watching back home on Fox Sports San Diego. River getting a chance to pinch run there. 25-year-old. He went to that hotbed college that produces so many baseball players, Allen Hancock College in California. It's just a baseball hotbed.
Popped up shallow right. And coming in is Gamble. Makes the grab, the glasses on for the first out of the inning. Where is that university?
I got to be honest with you, Don. I do not know where Allen Hancock College is. Born in Fountain Valley, California. Well, welcome to a big league game. River Stevens.
1 on, 1 out. It brings up Jabari Blash. Stevens running, pinch running at first base for Yangervis Solarte. Blash today has grounded out to 3rd and popped out to 2nd base. 0 for 2.
You think hitters today would come to the plate and you think, gosh, just get something elevated and it's going to fly out of here. Well, that can work against you. Start to lift a little bit, overswing, take you out of your game. It's one of those games, one of those conditions to where if you just square it up and elevate it a little bit, it's going to go. He's got to crush that pitch.
We've seen some go today. Padres with 2 home runs, both coming in the 1st inning. Gallardo has settled down here as his outing has gone along. He gave up 4 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd, and has not allowed a run since. And that's now 90 pitches for Gallardo in his outing. So really stretching it out here today. Last week of spring training, and a look at the breakdown of the 90 pitches. 55 have gone for strikes. Blash will put this in the air to deep right center field. Looking up towards the berm, and that's going to be gone. A home run for Jabari Blash. Blash with his 7th spring training home run. The Padres with their 3rd 2-run home run. And the Padres are on top 7-0. Talk about getting up into the jet stream. He did. Up and out of the yard just to the right of the 410 marker for Jabari Blash.
Keel the fastball. He's all over it. And as I just got done mentioning, you know, on a normal day, no win, I don't think this ball gets out of here. But the elevation, the wind helps Jabari Blash hit that opposite field home run.
Now 7 home runs. He's tied for the lead in the Cactus League with that home run for Jabari Blash. 7-0 San Diego. Two-run home run has given the Padres a 7-0 lead, and Jabari Blash's 7th home run of the spring. And a fan getting hit out here in right center field just to the right of the 410 marker in a Padres shirt.
I learned a long time ago. My dad told me when you go to a game, you got to watch the ball. Guy gets it right in the right arm. Looks like he was trying to protect his friend there in the hoodie. You know, that's doing the manly thing, but he's going to be feeling that for he's rubbing his right elbow.
That hurt.
Poor guy. Yeah.
Baseball traveled a long way to get out there. Now here's Christian Bethancourt, who is 0 for 2 in the game. And Nick Vincent into the game. This one chopped up over the bag at second.
Now that guy should get rewarded somehow, because that guy took a bullet for her.
And he didn't end up with a baseball, did he? Went off of him, but I don't think he got it.
Could be a fractured ulna. I'm afraid you'll have to forfeit. She doesn't look too grateful either. She should be like giving him hugs and kisses and stuff, don't you think? Well, thank you, honey. The guy took a bullet for her.
2 down here in the 5th, and here is Luis Torrens. Former Padre Nick Vincent into the game. Vincent with the Padres in 12, 13, 14, and 15 before going to Seattle last year.
The pride and joy of Ramona, California. Nick fastball, cutter, slider. Remember when Nick was a Padre that kind of ran into some trouble. He tried to do too much with his cutter. Sometimes pitchers will have a tendency to do that. Of course, location as well, but another kid you root for.
Traded by the Padres to the Mariners March the 30th of 2016 at the end of the spring training. Wren strikes out, and Vincent makes quick work of the rest of this inning for the Padres. But 2-run home run for Jabari Blash. 7-0 San Diego.
Padres back in Southern California when they take on the Lake Elsinore Storm on Friday, March 31st. The Majors versus Minors exhibition game will be hosted at the Diamond in Lake Elsinore. First pitch at 6 p.m. Limited number of tickets still available. Get yours today at Padres.com/storm. It's a great venue up there, Lake Elsinore. A lot of improvements this year.
7-0. Padres have lead. Let's send it down to Bob Scanlon.
Hey, thanks, Don. We're here with Manny Margot, David Longley assisting us with the interpretation once again. Who knows? We might not need it again, huh? We'll see. Manny, congratulations. Nice day today. RBI and a base hit. How are you feeling up there? Felicidades. Un RBI, un single también. ¿Cómo siente bateando ahora?
No, bien, gracias a Dios. Sabe que estuve fuera por varios días. Necesito tomarme mi tiempo para así coger la confianza necesaria para hacer ajustes en más juegos.
Yeah, I was out for a few days, and I just needed to take some time to get confidence back and make some adjustments to be able to get back, and I'm feeling good.
Which begs the question, how does the knee feel? ¿Cómo siente el rodillo?
No, bien. Ya, gracias a Dios me siento muy bien. Ya puedo correr ya el 100% y no tengo miedo totalmente me siento bien.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling great. Now I don't have any reservation, any fear about running 100%, so I'm feeling good.
Getting a chance to hit leadoff today, is that a situation in the lineup that you're comfortable with? ¿Está pateando en el primer lugar hoy? ¿Está cómodo allá?
Sí, sabe que, en primer lugar lo que necesita es, coger su picheo y envasarse y gracias a Dios, tú sabes que si hago eso puedo mantenerme ahí por mucho tiempo.
Yeah, I mean, being the leadoff guy, your job is really to see pitches and get on base, and I think, if I'm able to do that, I'll be able to be there for a long time.
Okay, now normally there's a player on the team that's a good cook and you can get the Dominican food. Is there somebody on the team that can cook here, or do you guys have to find a good restaurant? Normalmente hay un pelotero que puede cocinar la comida dominicana. ¿Está comiendo aquí con alguien o hay un restaurante bueno aquí?
Bueno, vivo con mi papá y mi esposa y gracias a Dios cuando voy a mi casa ellos todo el tiempo encuentro la comida hecha. Y no he visto restaurantes por aquí, pero creo que ahí sí.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I'm living with my dad and my wife, and so when I go back, there's food made, so that's good. But I haven't been to any great restaurants around here, but I'm sure there are.
He doesn't need it. He's getting the home cooking. Está cocinando de su casa.
Yeah.
Perfecto. Hey, Carlos Asuaje está practicando contigo con su inglés, pero él no está aquí ahora. ¿Con quién está practicando? Who's you practicing your English with now that Carlos Asuaje is no longer?
Bueno, tú sabes que yo mayormente todo el tiempo paro con él y todo el tiempo lo comparto con él. Aunque él no esté aquí, pero todo el tiempo hablamos y seguimos practicando día a día.
Yeah, I mean, I always play catch with him. I'm always chatting with him. I'm always practicing with him. So even though he's not here, we're still talking every day. So he's a go-to guy.
Hey, thanks for the time. Keep up the great work. Gracias por tu tiempo.
No hay problema.
David, thanks for the job. Great job.
Yeah, of course. Thanks.
Hey, guys, Manny Margot. The English was coming along, but David Longley helping us out with the Spanish right there. Back to you.
All right, Bob, thanks very much.
I'm impressed.
Very impressed.
I'm going to start calling Bob Scanlon Rosetta Stone.
He'll play at second base, a transition play on the transfer. At second base, River Stevens dropped the baseball, but they do get the out at second base. Possible double play ball. Got the lead runner. And now Mike ZUNINO batting, is seeing multiple innings. Wick back out there again for the Padres, his second inning of relief. We're hoping to see Carter Capps today, but he has not warmed up in the pen, and nobody warming right now for the Padres in the pen.
Good heater from Wick there. We've seen him a few times. Last time I think it was the last game or earlier in spring training, TV game, when we saw Brad toe the slab. Goes from the third base side of that pitcher's plate. Kind of throws across his body a little bit. Good firm fastball.
Non-roster invitee to spring training. Last year saw time in A-ball and Double-A, Lake Elsinore and San Antonio. Exclusively out of the pen. He's not pitched above Double-A before, and last year his first Double-A experience. Nino gets a piece, fouls it off, and hangs tough here at 3-2. Today, the Mariners DH has struck out swinging and fly to right, 0 for 2. Popped up. Brett Wallace, first baseman, going as far as he can, but that's back into the seats.
Oh, glad to see a Padre kid got it. A lot of Will Myers fans down there. Hard holding back the smile when you go home with a big league baseball.
And Wallace holding on. Valencia at first base here with 1 out in the inning. Down and in, and that's ball 4. So walk here of ZUNINO. And now the Mariners have runners at first and second with 1 away.
Who's this on?
This is Luis Renifro, who's now into the game, running at first base. So 2 on, 1 away, and here is Ben Gamel to left field. And out there to make the catch in left is Sardinez, who get it back into the infield. As Gamel flies out to left, 2 down in the inning. Here is Luis Sardinez battling for the shortstop spot early on in spring training, and now battling for utility spot for the Padres, and it could include outfield play. So today he does go into left field defensively.
Seems like the ball will always find you. Takes a special mind also to, hey, let's say, you come to spring training, you're thinking, I could be the guy starting at shortstop, and then the next thing you know, 3 weeks later, you're fighting for a utility job. You talk about staying mentally tough.
Yeah, right now in left field, made the catch on that fly out by Gamel, and here is Guillermo Heredia. His 3rd plate appearance of the day. It's bounced out to 3rd and walked in the first 2. Now he bats with 2 on and 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Brad Wick, the 3rd arm used today for the Padres. Matt McGill started today, 3 2/3 of shutout pitching. Saw Brad Hand, and now Brad Wick. Wick has fallen behind. Heredia here, 3-0. There's a strike. 28 pitches so far for Wick. Padres are out hitting the Mariners today 9-3. So a well-pitched ball game to this point by the Padres. And there's another walk, though, given up by Wick, 2nd of the inning. And it now loads the bases for the Mariners.
And even though it's a spring training game, you look at the score, and this is where, while you add on, even if you give up a grand slam here, as Carter Capps looks like he's going to start getting hot in the bullpen for San Diego. You give up a 4 spot on 1 swing, and you're still ahead by 3.
This one fouled back above us.
Once again, let's not forget Brad Wick, signed in 2014. Pitched the majority of the time in A ball. A little bit of time in Double-A San Antonio last year for 15 games, but other than that, 3 stops in 2015, all in A ball.
Good pitch, and it's 0-2.
Put him away right here. Up and in, out of the zone. Make him chase. Maybe, if you bounce a breaking ball, you get a swing, get a live ball, a run could score.
He went around, I think. They checked. No. Going. Chris Guccione, first base umpire, said he didn't go.
I thought he went.
The hit said it's a double.
Let's check it out. Watch the barrel of the bat. Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
If he, that's a home run today with the wind.
Yeah. Grounder instead, right side. Stevens On to first for the out. That gets Wick out of the jam. Mariners leave them loaded. Padres have a 7-0 lead.
With
As we head to the bottom of the 6th inning, and there you see Carter Capps warming up, getting ready to go into this ball game. And we talked about Carter Capps before the start of this game and how he's making his Cactus League debut. And what's interesting is Major League Baseball actually changing the rule book. They're calling it the Carter Capps rule. Here it is, 5.07, and the addendum is this: a pitcher may not take a second step toward home plate with either foot or otherwise reset his pivot foot in his delivery of the pitch. And that has been the concern. A lot of the naysayers saying that Carter Capps actually does take a step and push off, but when he does it properly, you'll see he just drags that back foot. There's nothing wrong with that. Major League Baseball reviewed it, they approved it, and as long as he keeps dragging that back foot, everything should be fine. And again, he could be a really potent weapon for Andy Green out of that bullpen during the season.
Well, just watching him there, Scan, as he did not take that second jump that we've seen before, and it did look like the foot was on the dirt the entire time. So I'm sure this is something that he has worked very hard on. And well, let me ask you, how hard is it to change your delivery at this stage of your career?
I would think very. I mean, a guy's been throwing that long. I never saw Carter Capps throw in Little League or in high school or in whatever, but I would have to say that it's quite an adjustment for him to keep that foot intact on the ground.
That is totally different from what we saw at the beginning of spring training.
Absolutely. That video that we saw, totally different. And you know what? It's a subjective thing, don't you think? Depending on who the umpire is. And granted, we know this through osmosis, through the time of baseball. We know that there are certain umpires out there who have become a little bit more popular than others for different reasons.
This is getting some carry, and that'll be off the wall for Dusty Coleman. He's thinking 3. Throw headed in that direction, and he will get there standing. Well, the wind gusting out in that direction almost got it out of the yard, but as it is, Coleman stands at third base. Well, I think the rule has become less subjective based on the wording of the new rule, really. I mean, I think it is easier now for umpires to make that decision.
Yes. Now, if it happens so quickly, you get 4 umpires out there, are they going to be on the same page and say, hey, we're going to have some leniency through? I mean, because, you know, if he comes up a 1/4 inch, if he comes up a 1/2 inch, are they all going to be on the same page and say, hey, we're going to let this slide, or what?
Well, to me, if he doesn't have that second hop, I think what he's doing right now will be fine. This is down the right field line. That's going to fall fair. And Cordoba's headed for extra bases. Scoring is Coleman. And Cordoba pulled up with an RBI double that puts the Padres on top 8-0. And Cordoba made a nice running catch in the outfield an inning ago. Now checks in with some offense, driving in a run.
Well, we've seen a lot of the hits this afternoon for the Padres. Now 11 go the opposite way. just making good contact, sending it on its way down each line. Take your chances that way, and the Padres adding on.
So Cordoba at second base with nobody out, and here's Luis Sardinez, who had taken over in left field for Jankowski. And he'll lift one out towards center field and deep. And Martin back at the wall, and that ball is gone. Another two-run home run for the Padres. Their fourth of the day, and this time it's Luis Sardinez. And the Padres make it a 10-0 lead. It's been a fun day for the Padres. First home run of the day for Luis Sardinez and of the spring.
It's like playing at Williamsport today. Ball is flying out of the yard. We mentioned the wind. You get it elevated. Oh, yeah, outfielders, you're going to have to cover some ground. Can't cover that one. About 450 feet, yo.
Yeah, Brett Wallace trying to get in on the fun here. He took over at first base defensively. Takes strike one. Mark Zepchinski in the game now for the Mariners. And he has been welcomed rather rudely. A triple, a double, and a home run. Padres a single shy of hitting for the cycle here as a team in the inning. Zepchinski, the third pitcher of the day for the Mariners, takes over for Nick Vincent.
Wholesale changes for the M's.
Yeah, they have a whole different outfield and infield. As we play along here in the bottom of the sixth inning. Swing and a miss for Wallace, who strikes out on a pitch down and in. And that's the first out here of the sixth inning. Well, we were talking about what Caps had been doing when he arrived here in spring training, and this was very early, and this is illegal according to Major League Baseball under the new rule, that second hop we're talking about. And they worked on dragging that foot the entire time and keeping it down. And Miami, this was ruled legal back when he was with the Marlins by Major League Baseball. This is a chopper that'll get into center field and a base hit. River Stevens has a base hit. He had pinch run in the fifth, now has a base hit to center.
You know, guys, one other thing to keep in mind about Carter Capps, I think that a lot of people forget, is that he's not throwing like this to try to give himself a competitive advantage. This was more the result of a sore arm that he was feeling at one point a few years back, and he felt like wrapping the arm behind his back and doing that little hop took some of the pressure off the arm, and that's really how it started. So there's no malintent on his part.
You know what? I find it amazing that, I mean, because when I look at Carter Capps' throw and I see where his body is and then in relation to where his, I mean, he actually hooks that ball back by the belt loop, and my arm hurts watching it. I mean, it's amazing, Scan.
I agree. It doesn't seem like that would be the tonic to make him feel better, but actually he claims that that's sort of how this whole thing got started. And you know, the one thing that the Padres have tried to do a little bit with him is to try to get him to drag more on the top of his foot, more towards the laces of the shoe, as opposed towards the inside of the foot along the big toe, and that will help keep that foot on the ground and prevent that illusion that he's trying to jump and cheat. But that's certainly not what he's trying to do. He's not trying to cheat, guys. That's just how he found a way to take some of the pressure off the arm when he was having some problems.
But what a difference it made, though, for that second hop, where the delivery point is and how many feet he really is from home plate when he lets go of the baseball before the new rule. I mean, that had to be some advantage, especially a guy who's throwing 98 miles an hour from that point.
I remember the first time seeing Carter Capps, and I think it was that Marlins video we saw against the Braves, to where they slowed it down, and he was actually, after his, when he would let go of the baseball and extend, his hand was near the cutout where the dirt met the grass towards home plate. That's how close he was.
It's amazing. Well, Carter Capps checks in on his delivery, according to Carter Capps.
Partially tore my UCL in 14. Didn't have surgery, just had PRP injections. And I think that off season, I was like protecting my arm a little bit. Every time I played catch, kind of like had that little hitch. And then as I progressed to the mound, normal off season, like same thing, still had that little hitch. And I wasn't like aware of how bad it was, because obviously I'm like just trying to throw strikes. And by the time I got to spring, I'd done so many reps, and I realized on the video, because I was seeing video for the first time, like how exaggerated it had gotten.
So, Scan, it sounds to me like the delivery just kind of got out of hand there after a while. Got away from him a little bit.
That got out of hand in a hurry.
Yes.
Yeah, it did. And again, it's not that he can't throw with his foot completely on the rubber. And look, if worse came to worse and MLB came back and said, hey, Padres, Carter, you just got to keep that foot on the... He could do it, Aaron Balsley, and he believed that he could potentially do it, but he's more comfortable doing it like this. And again, it's still falling within the rules. So, hey, he's pushing it up there 98 miles an hour. Let him eat.
Now Jamie Romack batting here with a runner at first base, and he'll foul it off to the right out of play. One out in the inning. James Pezos into the game now for the Mariners, their fourth pitcher of the day. And he'll miss outside. Numbers for Pezos into his 10th appearance so far this spring for the left-hander. And a strike over the outside corner. .276 spring for Jamie Romack. A couple of home runs and 6 runs batted in as gets into his 20th game of the spring. On the ground towards second and off the glove of Gillies into center field. So a chance there for a possible double play, but it went off the glove of the second baseman, and a base hit for Romack. Stevens will take second, and the Padres have runners at first and second.
This one had some hair on it. Off the side of the mound, it looked like, and then it kind of changed direction as far as it would go towards the second baseman when it hits that little grade on the, from our vantage point, the right side of the mound. But still too hot to handle.
So 1 out, runners at first and second. Here is Alberth Martinez, who took over in right field last inning. Hector Sanchez has come out to bat for Christian Bethancourt on deck. Bethancourt today was 0 for 3 in the DH spot today. Pazos ahead here, 0-1. And it's now 0-2. Tried to hold up but could not. One around. Alberth Martinez last year in San Antonio.
High fastball.
Signed as a non-drafted free agent November of 2009 in the Padres organization. He's from Venezuela. Back-to-back seasons for him at Double-A in San Antonio. Played a fair amount so far during the spring. Coming into the game here defensively now in right field for the Padres. First plate appearance for Martinez. And a swing and a miss strikes him out. And Martinez is out number 2 of this bottom of the 6th inning. Pazos with his first K.
Oh, it's the old go-to from a left-hander to a righty. 2 strikes. A lot of left-handers like to go down and in with that breaking ball.
First and second with 2 down. And here comes Hector Sanchez. He has caught and played at first base. And, of course, last year spent time between the White Sox and the Padres. 49 games for Hector Sanchez a year ago in the majors. Yeah, changed his mind in the middle, but did go around. Sanchez with 3 spring training home runs. On a day, the Padres have 4 home runs, all 2-run shots.
You know what Pazos reminds me a little bit of?
Who's that?
Everyday Eddie Guardado.
Ooh.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, a little bit.
His delivery?
Yeah.
Yeah. Erstwhile Twin and Mariner.
On the ground left side to short, and goes a long way to first base to get it there in time to retire Sanchez. And that will end the inning. Luis Sardinez with a 2-run shot has added on to the Padres into double figures in runs on top 10-0. To nothing in the long-awaited debut in a spring training game for Carter Capps. And warming up in the pen, now into the game. Here to pitch in the 7th inning. And a little bit of his resume. Drafted 2011, a 3rd-round pick by the team that he faces today, the Mariners. Made his debut in August of 2012. And that's 4 major league seasons for him. And, of course, last appearance going to go back to August of 2015 prior to the Tommy John surgery. And here is Capps. 2 years with the Mariners, 2 years with the Marlins, and now a member of the Padres trying to become part of what is a very good Padres bullpen.
And the one thing that sticks out is the Tommy John surgery. We've seen guys not bounce back from it. We've seen guys have 2 or 3. We've seen guys 16 to 18 months. It's been just a little bit over 12 months. Bounce back for Carter Capps. I mean, look at the broad shoulders on this kid. It's like he's got a coat hanger in that jersey. Big upper frame, big kid. Coming right at you, as Bob Scanlon said, 98. Firm.
And here is Mike Freeman. Batting from the 9 spot, 3rd plate appearance of the game. It's all about dragging that foot and not having a second hop. And looking at him right now, he's first one he dragged and did not have that second hop. But he has the illusion of kind of, and I don't know if it's an illusion or not, of really just jumping at you. It's got to be tough on a hitter.
Watch the back foot.
He cannot lift it, correct?
Yeah,
I mean, is that the deal?
Right. It seems like
It looked like he dragged it to me there. Chops softly towards third. Romack just into the game. Bare hands, no throw. Just hold on to it. No chance to get Freeman. So wisely just putting it in his back pocket. It's an infield hit for Freeman.
Well, when a pitcher has stuff that darts down in the zone, you're going to get a lot of toppers, and that's what will happen. A lot of infield singles. Just goes with the territory.
LEONYS Martin, his fourth plate appearance of the day. A walk, a strikeout, and a ground out. That's a leader, a runner at first. We had nobody out here in the seventh. A 10-0 Padres lead. And Carter Capps making his Padres debut here in spring training. Grounder up the middle and into center field. A base hit. Freeman will take second on the single by Martin, his first hit of the day, and first two have reached here for the Mariners in the seventh inning.
When we talk about location, for Carter Capps to come out and he misses, you see catcher having to reach across there. He wanted to bury that one down and away. And those hitters gear for the fastball.
Luis Liberado running at first base for Martin. And Gene Segura still in the game. 0 for 3 today. 203 hits last year for Segura in an Arizona Diamondbacks uniform, now in his first year with Seattle. Segura has struck out and flied out twice to the center fielder. Ball on a strike with 2 on, nobody out. We have 3 umpires here today who are major league umpires. They're all in the infield. Chris Guccione, Corey Blazer, and Tom Woodring. And the first time they have seen Carter Capps this spring, the home plate umpire, a AAA umpire this year, J.J. January, doing the umpiring today.
Well, no harm, no foul. Haven't heard from the umpires, so he's doing something right.
So far, so good, apparently, in the delivery. To center field on a line, and Cordoba is there to make the catch. He'll quickly get it back in, but tagging it second and moving to third base is Freeman. So now first and third for the M's after Segura lined out sharply to center field, and Alan Cordoba out there in center.
Now, if you're watching at home, the one thing that amazes me about Carter Capps, and Bob Scanlon and I were talking about this, is when that front foot, not his back foot, when his front foot hits towards home plate, when he lands on his front foot, look to where the ball is hooked behind his back. Now realize he's got all that momentum going towards home plate. Now he's got to get that baseball from his backside all the way up on top to get down into the zone. I mean, I have to ice my shoulder after watching him throw. It hurts my arm.
Well, it adds to the deception, I imagine. I would think.
It would get up on you very quickly. Okay, now watch the front foot where it hits right there, and then his arm is still kind of behind him a little bit. It happens quickly. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, he brings it from his hip pocket out to the delivery point, the release point, and very, very quickly.
Well, you just kill a bee?
I did.
I hate bees.
I don't like bees either. It's under control. Everything's under control. It's okay. Sit down. Don't get nervous.
It's like you with snakes and me with bees.
That's low, and it's 3-1. Caps has been missing. It has been down.
And I'm sure the adrenaline's pumping for Carter Capps as well, right? Anxious to be out there.
August of 2015, missed all of 2016, and
so Scan, the adrenaline pumping for Carter Capps getting out there in a spring training game, huh?
Oh, this is like opening day for him. Are you kidding? Like you said, he hasn't pitched since August 2nd, 2015, which interestingly was against the Padres. So great to see him back out there. But you know that he's amped up. The adrenaline is flowing. And he's trying to get himself back on track after not being on a hill for over a year and a half. But, you know, Mark, you were talking about that arm being wrapped behind his body. I wonder if that extra slide was a product of the arm wrap to give that arm a little bit of extra time to catch up with the rest of his body and cause that low arm slide.
Good call. Good pickup on that one. No question about it. You know, you look at, you know, I'm not saying there's a cookie cutter way to have a delivery because everybody has their own little quirks in it, but you know, when that I was always a firm believer and taught that, you know, when my front foot was landing, like I was on top of the baseball and it was almost like shoulder level. And what I mean by that is, like, okay, when my front foot, let's say my front foot is down now, my hand would be right here, and then I spin and rotate up on top of the baseball this way. You know, Carter Capps is like back here.
But I agree with you 100% in terms of what we were taught and what we would probably scout for. But the bottom line is, he's rushing the ball up there 98 miles an hour. Right. I'm not going to mess with it.
I don't care if you stand on your head
Exactly.
and you throw 98. Guess what? You're going to get the rock.
You know, sometimes I wonder if we put too much into having the perfect mechanics. We've seen plenty of those guys that can't get guys out in the big leagues, and plenty of funky deliveries like this that just dominate.
Yep. See how he hooks? Now, that's a lot of catching up to do. And look at how far out in front he's a foot from the cutout.
fouled back to the screen.
And Mark, you referenced this earlier too, how wide his shoulders are. Do you know how physically strong you have to be to fight and get that arm through the way he does?
Yeah, it is amazing. Look at his shoulders. I mean, like I said, it's like he's got a coat hanger in that jersey. Broad shoulders. Scan, did you ever have Tommy John surgery?
You know, amazingly, I was able to avoid it. Now, I had offers to do it because I have a giant bone spur in that ligament that's still there.
Yeah.
But at that time, Mark, and maybe it was the same for you, it was a 50-50 roll of the dice at that point if you'd ever come back, let alone come back stronger than you were.
Yeah, you're right.
So I did everything I could to rehab through it, and thank God I was able to and continue to pitch. But
now, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, but, you know, we were talking about cookie cutter deliveries. And I remember watching you pitch. You kind of spiked the ball out of your glove, right?
Exactly. I was what they call a stabber. So I would take the ball out of my glove and I would stab down behind me. How I started doing that, I have no idea. I tried to fix it for about 5 or 6 years without success. And I just finally said, you know what? I'm getting guys out. So far, I haven't had any major arm problems. I stuck with it. There's some things that are just too difficult to fix in the midst of a guy's career.
Right.
Well, I guess that's my question here. I mean, how hard is this going to be for Capps, again, to do this? I mean, he is doing it right now, but full count here, the base is loaded to change it.
Okay, let me put this into perspective. If the way that I threw, if somebody told me that I had to have a hop, imagine switching it around.
Well, the other way.
The other way, that would be a tremendous.
That's ball 4, the base is loaded, and the first run of the day for the Mariners.
He's on a 25 pitch count today as well, guys, so we'll see if they come get him.
Yeah, they will. Mark McGwire headed out there to make the change with the Padres on top of the Mariners 10-1. The first appearance of the spring for Carter Capps appears to be over. It's the one out responsible for the 3 men on. A run in for the Mariners will step aside. It's now 10-1 San Diego. Uniform. He departs. The bases loaded and a run in here for Seattle in the top half of the 7th inning. And new pitcher now as Rafael DePaula comes in for the Padres, their 5th pitcher of the day.
Well, a chance to try to clean up this little bit of a mess. It is somewhat of a laugher. 10-1 San Diego. The bases are loaded, so DePaula trying to maybe make one good quality pitch to get to and get out of it and leave those runners out there that are Carter Capps runners.
Capps went a third of an inning, giving up 2 hits. So far, 1 run, walked 2, and did not strike anybody out. His first outing out of the way, and you'll see now what happens with the rest of this inning. So DePaula into the game. Time last year at AA and AAA in the Padres organization, San Antonio and El Paso. Bulk of the season at AA, where he had a 2.44 ERA. Out of the pen. Part of the Hervis Solarte deal. Chase Headley, who's part of that deal, coming from the Yankees to the Padres. As grounded towards shortstop. Coleman will shuffle to second for 1, on to first for 2. Double play, and DePaula did a great job to get out of the jam. Only 1 run for the Mariners. It's 10-1 Padres.
Cactus League action. We've got ourselves a affer 10-1 Padres. Hey, don't miss this year's Padres Fan Fest. You going to be there, Don?
I will indeed.
That's presented by T-Mobile. Fan Fest will be hosted at Petco Park on Saturday, April 1st. No fooling, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. This family-friendly event features autograph signings, a kids zone, games, and much, much more. I'll be making balloon animals that day. Redeem your free tickets today at Padres.com/FanFest. A good time will be had by all.
Well, Edwin Diaz into the game here now for the Mariners, their 5th pitcher of the day. Taking over for Pazos, who leaves. Gave up 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning. Padres coming to bat here in the bottom of the 7th, and it'll be Luis Torrens, who has played the entire game today for the Padres. Doubled back in the 2nd inning, scored a run, and since then has grounded out to 3rd and struck out swinging. Luis Torrens had a tough spring coming into today's action. 4 for his last 29, but mentioned the double back in the 2nd. Padres getting 4 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd, 2 in the 5th, and 3 in the 6th inning. Mariners getting their first run against Carter Capps in the top of the 7th inning. Padres today with 4 2-run home runs. Will Myers, Ryan Schimpf, Jabari Blash, and Luis Sardinez combining for the 4-home-run attack.
Padres elevating some baseballs and taking advantage of that wind today.
Giovanni Gallardo started this game for the Mariners, gave up the bulk of the runs, and all the pitchers have been dealing with that breeze today. And a swing and a miss for Torrens. Diaz strikes him out for the first out here at the bottom of the 7th inning. Gallardo, the starter for the M's, went 4 1/3 and gave up 7 of the 10 runs.
Really quick arm action right there by Diaz and a nice slider down the middle of the plate. Torrens opening up, exposing that front side and taking all the strength, all the oomph out of that swing there for the strikeout.
Brings up Dusty Coleman, who tripled his first time up. Checking in the 6th inning. He'll take strike 1. Coleman has shown some pretty good versatility this spring for the Padres, both in the infield and the outfield. He has a good live fastball. 0-2. Coleman last year did not appear in the major leagues. It's been since 2015 since he was in the majors. And that was with the Kansas City Royals. His only big league time. 4 games with the Royals in 2015. And last year spent the year at AAA Omaha in the Royals organization. Diaz wants a new baseball. And he'll get one here. Alan Cordoba has come out on deck for the Padres. He would bat next, 1 out here in the 7th.
You mentioned 2015 with the Royals, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, how many games did he pitch in? You said, like,
played in 4.
You know what the great thing about that is? He still gets a World Series ring.
That's right. Strikes out this time, and they're 2-away here in the 7th.
You pitch one day with a team in the big leagues. You win the World Series, you get a ring. You're going home with the hardware.
2 down here in the 7th, and here is Alan Cordoba. And an RBI double back in the 6th inning that drove in Dusty Coleman, who had just tripled in front of him. This time he bats with the bases empty. 21-year-old Alan Cordoba from Panama.
Panama, Van Halen 1-0. Rod Carew, Panamanian. Did I throw you with the Van Halen reference? Panama.
It was David Lee Roth, right?
Van Halen.
Dave? No, I know that, but I was trying to figure out it was Sammy or
No,
David.
no, it wasn't Van Hagar. No, I don't even consider that music. Anyway, it was Van.
You didn't like the Red Rocker, huh?
I like the Red Rocker, but
so 5150 wasn't for you then, huh? That was
I'm
my
more
favorite.
of a Diamond David Lee Roth.
That's a 4-pitch walk for Cordoba down to first base. With 2 outs in the inning. Luis Sardinez, who has homered in this game and is playing in left field, is coming up.
You like the Red Rocker?
I did. I prefer the 5150 was my high school years. So to me,
see, that's why.
Yeah, I was not a Diamond Dave guy. I'm a Sammy Hagar guy.
See, I was like a freshman in high school when the first Van Halen album came out. So
there
that's
you go. Jump or whatever, right?
No, it was the first one was just Van Halen.
Oh, there was no jump.
That was like 1984.
To center field and falling fast and falling in for a hit. They're in front of Liberato, and he'll fire in towards third base, and the throw there is going to get away. And safe at third is Cordoba. Sardinez has his second hit of the day. Adds a single to a home run that he had earlier. Padres making some noise with 2 outs here in the 7th inning.
First to third, very key. Something the Padres did very well last year, and that takes good read from the runner at first base. Okay, now you see the outfielder, so Cordoba doesn't even break stride. Sees that it's going to be a short hop and easily takes third base. That's one of the things that the Padres are going to have to do again this year.
You know, Brett Wallace batting with runners at first and third. Yeah, you're right. They did a very good job of that last year.
One of the better teams in baseball.
And a good read by Cordoba on that ball that was a sinking liner in center. This one gets away. Cordoba won't have a chance to score, but Sardinez will take second base on a wild pitch charged to Diaz. So now runners at second and third with 2 outs. And a quick visit to the mound as Diaz started this inning very well, back-to-back strikeouts, but since then a walk, a single, and a wild pitch mixed in. And it's second and third. And he's fallen behind Brett Wallace 2-0. Make it 3-0. Big gap out in right center field. Liberato is moved to left center.
How about the Padres offense with the eruption today?
It's been fun to watch.
10 runs.
4 home runs as Wallace heads on down to first base on the 4-pitch walk. And with the bases loaded and 2 down, Scott Service heading back out to the mound. Looks like that's going to be the day for Diaz, who started the inning very well. And will hand the baseball off to his manager. Pitching change from Peoria, 10-1 Padres.
For the Marineros, an opening series presented by Sequan Casino is April 7th through the 9th against the San Francisco Giants. You don't want to miss it. Tickets to opening day include a free opening day t-shirt. Don't miss the festivities of opening series weekend. Tickets at Padres.com.
Now pitching change for the Mariners. Rafael Pineda into the game now for Seattle. Takes over for Edwin Diaz, who got into some trouble after a good start to the inning. Back-to-back strikeouts, but a couple of walks and a single. Now Ravinder Stevens batting. And Stevens will take strike one. Pitch ran back in the 5th inning for Solarte, then singled into center field in his first plate appearance in the 6th inning. Batting with the bases loaded and 2 down here in the 7th. Foul fly off to the left out of play. Some of the fans have ducked out here as the afternoon has gone on. Another warm Arizona afternoon.
This is the kind of the afternoon where it doesn't matter what the score is. As a baseball fan, I'm going to hang around. Right?
Some have ducked out as some of the regulars have left. 0-2. Curveball missing high. To center field. Liberato moving over. And he'll make the catch. It ends the inning. Padres leave them loaded, but have a 10-1 lead at the end of 7. Have the lead over the Mariners. We get ready for the 8th, but first let's send it down to Bob Scanlon.
Hey, thanks, guys. I'm here with Carter Capps. Carter, thanks for joining us. And, you know, we go all the way back to August 2nd of 2015, your last time pitching in a competitive ball game. How exciting was it for you just to be able to get out there today?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was very exciting. The atmosphere is a lot different than the backfields or the bullpen, so it's definitely exciting, and just looking forward to my next outing. Obviously, felt pretty good with my mechanics today, obviously considering, and was pretty excited to get back out there.
You know, I imagine you almost have the adrenaline flow like an opening day situation, even though it's just a spring training game. You still have that to look forward to, of course, but missing as much time as you had and getting out here as late as you have, is there still an opportunity for you to make the opening day roster?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean, obviously that's up to the powers that be, but I mean, I'm going to do everything I can to put myself in that position, and I mean, I'm just excited to be back, and I feel like I made a huge step forward today, so pretty excited.
Physically, obviously, you've got to feel right throwing, but also there's the psychological side of getting over that. Think of, can I cut it loose? It doesn't look like anything's holding you back at this point.
Yeah, no, I've had great trainers here. Obviously, they've been good mental coaches as well. Just tell me, hey, just trust it. You've worked hard on your rehab. Just go out there and know that everything's going to be okay and not be real tentative. And that's really helped the last few outings. The first few, I definitely, in the backfields, I was definitely really tentative. I think thinking about mechanics and everything and how my arm was feeling. I was feeling really good, but not thinking about throwing strikes, and here it's nice to just compete a little bit.
That last step psychologically of just feeling like you can cut it loose, is it more on the fastball or was it more throwing that first breaking pitch?
I think it's on everything. Yeah, I mean, it's really just the extra little bit you get when there's a batter in the box. I mean, there's nothing quite like even if we come out here and fans were yelling and screaming and stuff, and I threw a bullpen, it wouldn't be quite the same as a guy in the box. So it's that extra little bit of adrenaline you got to really kind of monitor, and that's the one where it's going to hurt you. So, yeah.
You're 12 months out at this point. So far, knock on wood, everything has gone really smoothly for you. Strength-wise, where do you think you're at this point?
Yeah, I think strength-wise and my elbow, I'm probably on par with where I was before it was hurt. I mean, it feels pretty good. And shoulder-wise, I actually think I'm better. I did not realize all the shoulder exercises and stuff on this long road back, and it's really strong. So, I mean, I feel like I bounced back better than I did before. So I'm excited about that.
Carter, exciting day for you. Great to see you back out there. Look forward to seeing you out there again soon.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Carter Capps back out there, guys. He's going to be big weapon for Andy Green out of that bullpen this season. It's good to see him back out there. Back to you.
All right, Bob, thanks very much. Getting that first outing of spring training out of the way here on the main field after working on the backfields.
There's something about the big field. There's something about, you can throw on the backfields, sure, but a spring training game like this, the adrenaline pumps up more. You can do all the training, all the throwing in the bullpen you want. And I think Bob Scanlon can elaborate on this too, but you get in a game where the juices are flowing and you step it up a notch or two and you put more into it, and it seems like Carter Capps has gotten over that hurdle to where you can go back to the clubhouse, get your work in, whatever you need to do to see the trainer, and you're like, man, you know what? I can check another box. That's a great feeling.
Now it's got to be a very big difference throwing a bullpen session, which you did so much for so long during the spring, to being on the mound here. And taking it another level to a big league game.
Yeah.
DePaula on for his second inning of relief and induces a fly ball to right center field. And Cordoba stepping in front of Martinez to make the catch out there in right center. Second out here of the top of the eighth. And Carter Capps heading to the clubhouse. His day is over.
Caps off a nice day.
GOSEWISCH has played the entire game in behind the dish for the Mariners, and at the plate 0 for 3, has struck out, lined out, and last time up grounded out to second base.
Oh, he hasn't had enough. He wants to pitch more.
Was going to leave, and now
it's
he's
the wrong door.
Had to get his stuff out of the pen. He had some stuff.
Now, unlike Capps, we've got DePaula out there with a short. He's a short strider. And for a tall kid, that enables him to get up on top more, a little downward. Watch his stride. How short his stride is as compared to Capps. You flinched.
I did. I thought that was coming back here. But thankfully the screen is in the way. We're not far here.
Here's the stride here. Big kid. Kind of a shorter stride, a much shorter stride.
GOSEWISCH to deep center field. Cordoba back on the track, and that is off the wall. No, it's gone. It's off the batter's eye, according to second base umpire Corey Blazer. And it come all the way around. A 2-out home run for GOSEWISCH.
One of the few balls at the Diamondbacks, as GOSEWISCH used to play for the Diamondbacks, that the Mariners have elevated, taken advantage of that swing, or that wind, as right down the middle. And TUFFY puts a charge in. Let's see if you can see the ball change direction. Right above the yellow, I guess.
Well, the batter's eye out there in center field and very close to the yellow line, but apparently just above it. And the Mariners have their second run of the day, a single run in the 7th, and one so far here in the 8th. 10 runs, 15 hits, and 2 errors today for the Padres. 2 runs, 6 hits, and no errors for the Mariners. Mariners have left 10 men on base in this game, and with 2 outs and a run in, Mike Freeman. Ball in the dirt. And it's a ball and 2 strikes now to Freeman. He's been on twice today, batting out of the 9 spot for the M's. A walk and an infield hit. He has scored a run.
You know what I wanted to ask you?
What do you got?
Since the Mariners are no longer the rival for the Padres, does that kind of upset you a little bit? It does me.
I liked it, but we don't really have much of a say. It's now the Texas
It's not a matter
Rangers.
who says, Cha-Cha. I asked you a simple question.
Do I not? I don't like it. No, I like playing the Mariners.
I know.
I like going to Seattle.
I love Seattle.
I like having dinner with you in Seattle.
It's a good town.
Very good town. Very good ballpark. I love Safeco Field.
And I've said this many times. If I was commissioner, I would put the Colorado Rockies in the AL West, and I'd put Seattle in the NL West. How sweet would that be, going up to the Pacific Northwest 3 times a year? Now the Padres.
Now they're going to move around.
Natural rivals of the Texas Rangers, which makes perfect sense.
Teams don't like each other. It could get ugly.
It's bad blood. Yeah, move that team to the American League West.
Here's Liberato batting for the 2nd time, single to center in the 7th. Yeah, I'm going to miss Seattle, but we'll be there in 3 years, I think, again. It's going to be like a rotating thing.
Exactly.
This year we will go to Arlington.
They're getting a new ballpark. How about that? Going to have a retractable roof?
I like the one they're in now.
It's too windy and hot, though.
It is very hot. There's no doubt about that. So the Rangers will be coming to Petco Park, and the Padres will be going to Arlington. When was the last time you were in Arlington?
We did a game there, I think, 2 years ago. I think we were there 2 years. Yeah. In fact, we finished the first half of the season there. All-Star break.
Well, the ground is short. Coleman flips to second to Stevens for the force out. That'll end the 8th. The Mariners had a run, but it's 10-2 Padres.
Welcome to
Mariners as we head to the bottom of the 8th inning. And Jamie Romack will lead it off here. Back on the hill is Pineda, finished off last inning for the Mariners. Right-hander back out there again. Romack singled to center field in the 6th inning and takes strike one. Ryan Buchter is up in the Padres pen right now, so looks like Buchter is going to try to finish this off for the Padres today in the 9th inning.
Ooh, good tight breaking ball there.
There is Buchter. We'd already saw Brad Hand earlier in the game, along with Carter Capps. All part of what is expected to be an extremely good bullpen for the Padres. Evens up at 2-2. Jamie Romack, 31 years old. Born in London, Ontario, Canada. Used to be the AA home for the Detroit Tigers.
You do some games there?
I did. Labatt Park.
Is that Eastern League?
Eastern League. Yeah, London was there for some time. Still resides in London, Ontario, Canada, does Jamie Romack. Big league time with the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. And a ball struck well down the left field line towards the pen and off that big wall. ZUNINO will get it back in, but it is a double that starts the bottom of the 8th inning for Romack. Almost got it out of here to left.
Well, ball got out there in a hurry. With the wind blowing today, I thought off the bat, yes, a home run, but he squared it up nicely, and the line drive does not get out. Pretty good dent in that chain link, I would say, out there, moving that chain link fence for the double.
So it's second with nobody out here in the 8th. Albert Martinez, a strikeout victim in the 6th inning. We'll take the breaking ball for strike one. Nick Schultz has come out on deck here for the Padres in the DH spot. Victor Sanchez hit for Bethancourt earlier, but there is Schultz. He will hit. On the ground right side, Gillies goes to first for the out. And on to third goes Romack. Well, Nick Schultz coming up here now for the Padres.
I know nothing.
I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming. It was just a matter of time. Nick Schultz last year, AA, single A. Lake Elsinore for 13 games. Bulk of the year spent in San Antonio, where he had 282 in 106 games in San Antonio. Born in Mountain View, California. Went to San Jose State. And he fouls it back to the screen.
There's Spartans, right? San Jose State? Spartans.
Yeah. Signed as a non-drafted free agent, 2014. runner at third. Padres batting here in the bottom of the 8th inning, protecting a 10-2 lead.
It's one of those games, Don, and I say it quite a bit, but spring training, any game, you want to have everybody healthy at the end of the day. You don't want to get into a situation where some freak thing happens 10-2, and even the Mariners thinking, okay, we're down by 8, just kind of get through this game, and hopefully Scott Service thinks that my pitcher can make some good pitches, get out of this, and get away unharmed after this Cactus League game.
Pineda coming in the 7th, gave up a double to begin the 8th, and able to get the ground out. Happy youngster down there. He's got a souvenir.
Future big leaguer.
Romack at third with one down, and a 3-2 pitch coming up here to Schultz. He'll take the walk, as Pineda been working him away for the most part, and with one out, the base on balls here. Brings up Tony Cruz. From Palm Beach, Florida. Non-roster invitee to spring training for the Padres. And 2 for 12 so far during the spring in 12 games. Big league time for Cruz with the Cardinals, parts of 5 years, and last year a total of 4 games with Kansas City, spending the bulk of the year at AAA Omaha.
Omaha, home of the Creighton Blue Jays, right?
Mm-hmm. What else you got?
Bob Gibson, Creighton. Dennis Rasmussen, Creighton. Don Orsillo, Northeastern.
Not in Nebraska. To right field, and that's in for a base hit right in front of the right fielder Gamble, and coming in from third and scoring is Jamie Romack, and the Padres added their lead on top now 11-2.
Once entradas hoy para los Padres. Trying to pull a Bob Scanlon right there. 11 runs for the Padres today. Bob, how was that Espanol? I think I said runs wrong. Once, how do you say runs? ¿Cómo se dice runs?
Muy excelente. You're on it.
¿Cómo se dice runs en español?
Carreras.
Okay. Once carreras hoy para los Padres de San Diego.
Muy bien.
Muchas gracias.
Mariners have action in their pen as Dusty Coleman bats for the 3rd time today. A triple, a strikeout, and here he is with runners at first and second, taking a strike over the outside corner.
Bob, I have to ask you, Don and I are very impressed, and I mentioned that you played winter ball in South America and other parts, but how did you learn your Spanish so well?
You know, it was out of necessity, Mud. My family, as you know, my wife is Colombian, so I needed to know what my mother-in-law was saying behind my back. So 8 years of Spanish, no good. But as soon as I had to know what was going on behind my back at home, I got up to speed in a hurry, my friend.
That's smart move, right-hander.
That, and you know, when you're playing winter ball, you got to eat.
Right.
So all of a sudden you start learning the vocab real fast.
No, I'm impressed. That's one thing I wish I could do.
Center field, that's going to drop in for a base hit. And Hoffman stopping Schultz at third base, and the Padres have him loaded now with one out in the 8th inning.
You know, Mark, we all need to start learning Japanese, Korean. You know, there's no limit.
You're right.
We have all the languages so that we can talk with all of our ball players now.
Here comes Scott Service to make a pitching change. He's going to do it for Pineda with one out here in the inning. A run in already. Padres have the bases loaded on top 11-2.
Adios.
the Padres have the lead over the Mariners. We are in the midst of the 8th inning with 1 out. Padres looking for more. They've got the bases loaded.
Well, Darren Gillies now in the game for the Seattle Mariners, right-hander. He's got a fastball, breaking ball, changeup. And
are you making this up?
No, he's from Tempe, so he's a local kid.
Okay. We've reached that point of the game where not entirely sure. We have double numbers going on in the game right now. So.
Yeah, went to Arizona State. He's a Sun Devil. Actually was born in San Jose, but now resides in Tempe, home of the Sun Devils.
Alan Cordoba has doubled and walked since coming into the game. Scored a run back in the 6th inning. Batting with the bases loaded and 1 out. And a strike over the outside corner.
I thought Gillies was at second.
He's been at second since like the.
So he's the
6th
Mariners.
inning.
He's the Mariners' Christian Bethencourt.
Okay, so if Gillies is now pitching
right
and not at second base, who is at second base?
Brett Boone.
82 is at second base.
Bryson Brigman.
Bryson Brigman is at second base.
Here's Bryson.
So you're right. This is indeed Darren Gillies. To third, to the backhand goes Rosa. To second for 1. On to first. It is not in time. And a run scores. Schultz coming in from third base. Padres get their 12th run of the day. Almost the double play around the horn, but couldn't get it done. 12-2. Cruz takes third base, reaching at first. Cordoba legging it out down there to beat out that double play. And it's time for Luis Sardinez to pick up his third AB of the day. Home run in the 6th, a single in the 7th. Slap foul off to the left by Sardinez. Buckner's still warming in the pen. Looks like he'll be coming on for the top of the 9th. Much different situation that he is used to, usually pitching with a lead of a run or 2 perhaps when he comes into a game, but at the very least to be working with a 10-run lead. Ground ball down the first baseline. It's a fair ball. Covering is Gillies, the pitcher, and the out recorded on Sardinez. 2 more runs for the Padres on top, 12-2. Padres today. 4 two-run home runs, and it started with 2 of them in the first. First, Will Myers with his 3rd home run of the spring. After 28 during the regular season, a 2-run shot. Then how about Ryan SCHIMPF, his 2nd of the spring? All part of the first to give the Padres a 4-0 advantage. Later on, Jabari Blash would come up with a runner at first, and his 2-run home run, the 7th of spring training for Blash, out to right center field. And Padres were not done as Luis Sardinez joins in on the fun with his own 2-run home run. That came in the 6th inning. And the Padres on the benefit of 12 runs, 18 hits today. And here's Ryan Buchter into the game here in the 9th inning with a 10-run lead.
Well, like we mentioned, Brad Hand earlier had one heck of a year last year. Ryan Buchter really came into his own and getting the chance to pitch at the big league level and paid big-time dividends. His 7th game this spring, just a nice little tune-up. Nice ERA in 6 frames. And once again, the thing that jumps out, 11 strikeouts in 6 innings of work.
Buchter takes over for DePaula here in the 9th inning.
And this is where the mental part of the game comes into play. Don, we talked about Ryan Buchter usually coming in high leverage pressure situations during the course of a regular season. Up by 10, trying to close it out. You got to go after these hitters, make good quality pitches. Right frame of mind.
I would imagine from an intensity standpoint, this would be pretty tough to kind of reenact here for him, but getting some work in.
It's kind of like the same for announcers too. I mean, right now my intensity level is just through the roof. I mean, I'm, focused in and really looking at Buchter and keeping score and just everything. I'm up to date.
I got to question the intensity level a little bit. 6th or 7th innings.
Really, you calling me out?
A little questionable.
Really?
But I think you have come back here in the last inning or so after a brief departure in the middle inning.
Like I left?
It's not like you left. I mean, you were here. You just really were not participating. Or
there wasn't a lot of going on.
Or even watching the game.
I let the pictures tell the story.
Right. But you're back. I mean, it's just that's all that matters. You're back. You're back. It's awesome. Buchter here with a count of 2-2 to Smith.
Breaking ball down and in.
This is a bloop and over the head of Stevens into right field for a base hit.
Looked like a fastball. Just didn't get it in enough, and a hitter with 2 strikes has to protect. Fought it off. He wants to go down and in below the knees. See where the glove is? But on contact, that ball leaks inside corner, up above, and when you get jammed up there, that's a greater chance of a little duck snort the opposite way.
So lead runner on here for the M's in the 9th inning. Rosa with an inside out swing, fouls it off down the right field line, out of play.
What are you cooking tonight for dinner there, Rachel Ray?
That's a good question. I have not made that decision yet. When this game ends, I'll be going to the grocery store to figure that out. 2 pitches, a swing and a miss. And that is strike 3. So Buchter comes back strong, getting Rosa.
Up the ladder. Ryan Buchter, the left-hander, likes to work down, 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 but with 2 strikes, that pitch looks so inviting out of the hand. It's really tough to lay off, especially with 2 strikes.
Well, just when we figured out Bregman was in the game at second base, they're going to hit for him here.
Perfect.
With 1 out in the 9th.
Family was probably watching. Oh, I hope he gets in a game. Oh, Bryson, gosh, well, he's been in 3 innings. And he's not going to get a chance to hit.
No, that's canceled. They'll pop up. And Stevens on the right side will drift back on the short lawn and right for the second out of the 9th inning. Another pinch hitter coming up here for the Mariners. Joey Wong, an infielder, will pinch hit.
You know, you come to the ball yard, big league spring training game, and Scott's service throws in Joey Wong, who's left-handed against a guy like Ryan Buchter, who had one heck of a year at the big league level. Thanks, Skipper.
Now ball and a strike here. Leadoff single by Smith. A strikeout and a pop out for Buchter. And trying to finish off the Mariners today. And a good day for the Padres, both offensively and some pretty good pitching turned in today. And the Padres debut for Carter Capps as that strike 2.
Some positives, yeah, you bet. Took advantage of the win today, elevating some baseballs, the home runs. Nice to see Carter Capps get out there for the first time, as you mentioned, Don.
On the outside corner for strike 3, and that's the afternoon. Ryan Buchter able to strike out Wong and to end the ball game. Padres able to win it 12-2. We're back with more after this.